Hey guys, tonight we're stepping into puddled Edo streets, where shared umbrellas birthed a rain-soaked revolution. Picture this: your straw sandals slap against wet cobblestones as merchants fold soggy awnings overhead. A vendor thrusts a bamboo-handled parasol into your hands without asking for coin, just a nod toward the nearest tea shop's rack. You've entered the birthplace of kindness that doubled as social glue and accidentally invented Japan's first decentralized library system. Now, you'd think borrowing an umbrella's simple, until you realize these old paper canopies required more etiquette than a shogun's tea ceremony. Miss the return deadline. Prepare for passive-aggressive haiku left on your doorstep. Historians still argue whether the Tokugawa government endorsed umbrella sharing to reduce petty theft or to track citizen movements through bamboo rental tags. Either way, your ancestors stayed drier because of it. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Shout out your location and local time below. I read every comment, even if it's 3 a.m. and you're halfway through a family-size bag of rice crackers. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're not just grabbing rain protection, you're holding a social contract dipped in wax and bamboo. The first umbrella libraries sprouted near ferry docks, where sudden showers stranded travelers. Shopkeepers kept spares by their thresholds, no names taken, just honor-bound returns. By 1683, entire neighborhoods competed for the title of most generous canopy quarter. The winner, a ramen stall owner who commissioned 37 parasols painted with lucky carps, all mysteriously returned within 2 days. Here's a nugget: your textbook skipped early umbrella racks were guarded by tamed river weasels. Merchants fed them fried tofu to deter thieves, believing the critters could smell dishonest intent. Didn't work. By noon most days, the weasels were napping in the very umbrellas they were meant to protect. You sidestep a puddle reflecting paper lanterns, their glow revealing a crucial detail. These weren't hand-me-down rags, but status symbols. A merchant's wife might loan out her finest lacquered parasol just to watch neighbors gasp at the gold-leafed edges. For once, showing off meant getting soaked less. Even the shogun's spies filed reports on which shops kept silk-lined specimens, potential hotspots for disgruntled samurai seeking dry shelter to plot. Rain hammers harder now, time to duck into a tea house. A server slides you honeyed ginger tea without asking, and a folded umbrella patterned with sparrows. Notice the handle, it's slightly chewed. That's not poor craftsmanship. Those tooth marks, a communal ledger. Each nibble represents a borrower from the last lunar cycle. 5 bites meant 5 dry citizens who avoid catching death chills in spring drizzle. But here's the twist: the system worked because failure meant wet socks for everyone. Forget to return yours. The entire block paid the price through awkward silences and oversteeped tea. Yamamoto Setsu's scrolls mention a drought year when unused umbrellas collected dust, until someone had the bright idea to repurpose them as festival fans. Genius, until monsoon season returned, and 300 people showed up clutching painted wood sticks instead of canopies. By the early 1700s, umbrella etiquette dictated everything from marriage proposals to bankruptcy declarations. A suitor might borrow his beloved's family parasol for 3 days straight. Prolonged use signaled serious intentions. Pawn shops displayed confiscated umbrellas as shame trophies. And if you really messed up, you donated a new one with your name burned into the handle. Ancient Edo's version of a Yelp review. One last thing before the rain drowns us out. Those floral patterns weren't just decoration. Chrysanthemum motifs marked umbrellas for temple visits. Peony designs meant you were headed to the red light district. Mix them up, and suddenly you're bowing to confused monks while courtesans laugh behind silk sleeves. Your sandal snaps a twig in the storm's lull. The sound echoes like a broken umbrella rib. Around you, shopkeepers begin closing their racks with yawns. Tomorrow's drizzle will bring new borrowers, new patterns, new teeth marks on bamboo. But tonight, the streets hum with the silence of 1,000 dry citizens, sleeping soundly, each dreaming of how to out-kindness their neighbor come dawn. You trudge through Edo's monsoon streets, the air thick enough to slurp through bamboo strainers. Your fingers brush rain-polished tags dangling from a cedar rack. Each numbered slat bears names carved by steady hands. 97, Kazue S and 42, Ren S whispering through time. Here's the trick. No coins clink in these transactions. You swap wet sandals for dry ones. A squeaking semaphore librarians decode like temple bells. Left foot forward means returning before dusk. Right foot angled signals extended loan. Historians still argue whether the vinegar scent on tags was anti-theft or just mildew. The real magic hides in handle grooves. Run your thumb along the bamboo, feel those tiny notches. 5 ridges mean bring back umbrella, and a fresh persimmon. 3 dots translate to apology gift, suggested. You smirk at a handle carved with cherry blossoms. Some romantic souls please slipped inside hollow ribs. Watch the lone master at work. She sniffs a returned parasol's oiled paper, nods at lavender undertones. Ah, Hiroshi-san's district, she mutters, slotting it beside indigo-dyed canopies. Rain drums on the thatched roof, nature's metronome for this drip-dry ballet. Did you know they used repurposed sake barrels as emergency umbrella stands? True story, aromas of rice wine clung to loans during Aben festivals. Your sandals squish toward the tally ledger, its pages swollen into braille-like ripples. Names bleed across grain patterns. The Seito clan's entries form miniature rivers. Catch the faded red stamp. That's the shogunate's seal, proof they taxed every 20th umbrella during great droughts. You trace a water-stained entry from 1703, 17 parasols borrowed for a tea, master's funeral. Rumor claims one never returned its ghost. Still, patrols Nihinbashi Bridge during hard rains. Listen that faint squelch behind you. Someone's practicing the apology shuffle. Turn slow, see the merchant boy bowing as his borrowed canopy drips on the entry mat. The lone master taps her abacus. 4 beads slide for repair fees. He presents wilted loquat leaves, a humble penance pilfered from some temple garden. She accepts too, tucking them behind her ear, Edo's version of 5-star Yelp reviews. The shelving system defies logic. Oil paper umbrellas, sorted by last rainfall, silk ones by donor zodiac signs. You linger near the Wolf Hour section canopies, donated by midnight playwrights and fire watchers. Their handles bear teeth marks, emergency kindling for actors caught in sudden squalls. Ever heard of the Great Umbrella Rebellion of 1687? Farmers stacked hundreds as protest barricades, muted by officials declaring parasols non-threatening foliage. As dusk blurs the streets, apprentices light whale oil lamps, their glow revealing hidden patterns. The ceiling's water stains coalesce into mountain ranges, guides for lost umbrellas seeking home. You pocket your bamboo tag, its edges softened by generations of rain-slick palms. Somewhere beyond the shutters, a night heron croaks, feathered lone shark awaiting stragglers. One last thing, spot that child by the gutter. She's spinning a broken parasol like a makeshift water wheel. The lone master watches, smiling as runoff pirouettes into drainage channels. Tomorrow's librarian, she confides, tossing the girl a dried plum. Their laughter swirls upward, joined by the whisper of 93 umbrellas trembling in the rising storm. You follow the heron's shadow beneath a humpbacked bridge, its stone belly cradling a closet-sized alcove. 3 oil paper parasols lean against mossy bricks, their handles scarred with bite marks from impatient otters. A bamboo sign sways, characters worn drip thrice before entry in 17th century slang. Here's the kicker. These bridge libraries predate the shogunate's official ones by half a century. Merchants devised them for rainy trade routes. Any samurai caught borrowing without permission risked poetry humiliation. True story, Lord Date once had to improvise a haiku about soggy socks mid-duel. Wipe your face on the hemp towel hanging from a rusty hook. It's coarse enough to exfoliate regrets. Skipping this step, the pulley system jams your umbrella, gets hoisted into pigeon-filled rafters as punishment. Historians still argue whether the cheek-drying rule was about respect or preventing mildew on lone logs. Peek behind the faded indigo curtain. There's a ledger floating in a watertight Polonia box. Names drift like ink jellyfish, each entry secured with plumpet weights. Spot the charred corner. That's from the 1783 fire. Drunken poets tried roasting chestnuts over emergency. Candle wax. Your sandals brush something gritty. Ah, the secret deterrent. Volunteers rake fresh sand nightly to catch rogue drips. Deepest footprints face east toward the bridge's forgiveness shrine, where late returns incur lighter fines. Ever seen a 7-tiered umbrella rack? There's one wedged between bridge struts, swaying like bamboo wind chimes during typhoons. The real treasures above your head. Crane may look at the ceiling's carvings, carpentry, apprentices hid miniature umbrella scenes between support beams. One shows a fox borrowing a parasol to moonlight as a tea maiden. Another depicts umbrella ribs repurposed as emergency chopsticks during flood banquets. Something crunches underfoot. Oh, you've stepped on a turtle-shaped rain gauge from the Bunka era. Its hollow shell once collected droplets to measure overdue fees, 30 beads per inch. Don't lick the rust. Iron flavor lingers longer than unpaid debts here. Voices echo from the opposite bank. 2 geishas giggle as they swap parasols engraved with lovers' initials. Their silk cords twist in coded patterns. 8 loops mean borrowed in secret. 3 knots signal return before my husband notices. The tea house across the way winks with paper lanterns. Its sliding screens hide umbrella nooks behind sake barrels. Suddenly, a thwack. A wooden ball bounces off the bridge. Street urchins play dodge the drip, using borrowed parasol handles as bats. Their rules are brutal. If the ball tears the canopy, you owe the library 7 summers of firefly catching. As twilight stickers the river, lantern light reveals the bridge's true quirk. Those moss stains on the west pillar, they're actually 18th century graffiti, complaints about umbrella thieves set to Tonka verses. My favorite, your borrowed lies outlast this autumn, storms passing tears, slash my heart's oiled paper shreds. Duck beneath a low beam, feel that chill. You've entered the whispering arch. Murmurs from forgotten borrowers cling to the stone, their apologies and excuses suspended in perpetual dampness. Lean closer. One voice definitely just fibbed about sudden koi pond obligations. A fishmonger trudges past, balancing 12 umbrellas on his head, human shelving for the night's final returns. His nose wrinkles at your borrowed parasol. Tusk. Southwest quadrant tags don't mix with northeast racks after sunset. You pretend to understand, bluffing half the etiquette test here. The heron screeches again, time's up. You surrender your umbrella to a basket ferried by trained carp. It sinks, resurfaces downstream, the Edo version of automated returns. One scale glints on the handle. Or is that a lost earring from some previous borrower? Rain lightens to mist as you exit, your sleeve brushes. A borrower's bell strung with broken ribs. Its clang startles a monk meditating upside down beneath the bridge. He nods a silent come back when the willows bleed green. You blink, and he's just a bundle of rain cloaks. Last thing, notice those firefly specks in the distance. That's not bugs. It's the tea house's roof, glowing with bioluminescent fungi cultivated on neglected umbrella handles. The owner's manuals clear. Return late, pay in light. Centuries later, their spores still pulse through Tokyo's storm drains. Rain muffles the tea house's fungal glow as you re-enter the downpour, your borrowed parasol tilting like a samurai's sword mid-draw. This isn't just about staying dry. The angle matters. A 45-degree lean keeps runoff channeled into your left sleeve's built-in gutter. Too steep, you'll baptism strangers in alley puddles. Too shallow, drips perforate your dignity worse than a shogun's poetry critique. Here's the thing, Edo's rain etiquette ranked higher than table manners. Records show 17 people got fined for reckless tilting. During the 1690 flood season, one merchant allegedly paid his debt in pickled plums after splashing a magistrate's concubine. True or not, the stories survived 3 centuries as a cautionary tale. Spot those wooden clogs on the bridge. They're not lost footwear. They're training aids. Novices balance them on their heads while practicing the umbrella lean. Drop the clog, and you owed the lending kiosk a day's worth of gutter clearing. The grooves in their soles. From impatient tutors whacking students' ankles with reed sticks. Your elbow brushes a mossy wall, smell that. It's not earth. Artisans soaked umbrella canopies in cedar resin solutions to muffle the plink-plink of dripping water. Too effective, sleepy librarians occasionally dozed off while tracking returns by ear. Some claim the resin attracted termites, but historians still argue whether that's why certain archives collapsed faster than others. A shopkeeper's shout makes you pivot your parasols. Edge nearly grazes a stack of silk kimonos. Crisis averted barely. Merchants displayed fabric bolts during storms to prove color fastness, a marketing ploy ruined by careless umbrella shakes. Hence the golden rule: never snap your canopy closed within 5 paces of textiles. Violators risked buying stained inventory at triple cost. Pause by the bronze statue of a frowning woman, her left hand forever shielding an imaginary robe from splashes. Locals call her Aim no Wakaru, Lady Rain Shame. Rub her oxidized toe for luck, or don't. Those dark streaks on her base, centuries of guilty borrowers scrubbing souvenir muck off their sandals, underfoot crunchy bits, not rice crackers, dried minnows scattered by fishermen to deter umbrella-toting pigeons. The birds confused closed parasols with nesting sites, resulting in feathery squatters and abandoned eggs in canopy folds. A 1782 scroll complains of a 10,000 droppings incident that temporarily shut down 3 lending stations. You pass a sake stall using inverted parasols as rainwater funnels. It's clever, until someone mistakes them for rentals. The owner's great-great-grandmother started the trend. Her original borrowing led to 12 generations of awkward family reunions. Notice the faded sign: no sampling during thunderstorms. Taste buds lie when damp. A child's laughter pulls your gaze upward. Riders on a palanquin tilt 3 parasols in unison like synchronized herons. Their bearers hiss warnings. Nobility demanded dryness without compromising the procession's ominous silhouettes. Miss the rhythm? You'd spend weeks repainting clan crests on rain-warped carriage panels. The wind shifts. You instinctively snap your parasol downward. Good move. Edo's sideways rains were notorious for bypassing canopy coverage, ninja-level stealth storms. Weather vanes bore insulting poems about these sneaky squalls. One likened them to a thief's fingers untying obies. A tea master glares as you approach his shop, not at you, but your umbrella's dangling ties. Untrimmed hemp strings marked you as a beginner. Their swaying implied negligence. Proper drippers knotted tails at 7 centimeters exactly. Any longer invited chaos into the tea's serenity. His apprentice practices the scowl in a corner, an essential diploma for rainy shifts. You reach the famed nightingale flooring veranda. Its squeaky planks provide cover for dripping sounds. Clever, right? Until you learn artisans inserted copper strips to warp the wood intentionally. Dampness worsened the creaks, a built-in alert for soggy intruders. Modern architects tried replicating it in Kyoto. 9 out of 10 contractors quit mid-project. A ballad drifts from a second-story window. The lyrics rhyme, slanting rain, with forgotten vows. Locals claim the composer stole the melody from a blind umbrella repairer's humming. No proof exists, just sheet music mysteriously appearing during particularly wistful drizzles. Your sleeve brushes a dangling bamboo cylinder. It's a complaint box for etiquette violations. Slot in a handwritten gripe, and librarians would investigate during lulls. Most common submission: Lady Chio's Pomeranian uses parasols as fire hydrants. A close second, tourists mistaking shared umbrellas for souvenirs. The clouds break, you start closing your canopy. Stop, shaking it dry indoors insults the very concept of roofs. Plus, superstition says vigorous snaps attract week-long monsoons. There's an art to the post-storm drip. 3 gentle flicks toward the northeast, then a clockwise spin. Master this, and fishmongers might finally stop muttering about your rebellious aura. As sunlight glints on puddles, you spot the ultimate test: a poodle-sized stray darting through foot traffic. Adjust your umbrella's angle mid-stride to shield it without breaking pace. Succeed, and grandmothers nod approval from doorways. Fail, well, let's just hope your sandals are faster than their tongues. Rain slicks the cobblestones as you duck into a workshop's ochre glow. Your umbrella's broken rib snagging the door curtain. 13 candles flicker in iron sconces, each flame tuned to the exact heat for bending bamboo. A craftsman's calloused fingers test a spine's curve against his forehead, living protractor. This isn't repair, it's resurrection. You kneel on straw matting damp with decades of splash-off. Notice the shallow troughs carved into floorboards. They channel stray droplets to a cedar bucket. No waste here. Those murky puddles became ink for apprentice ledger entries. or so the tax collectors were told. The artisan presses a bamboo strip into boiling wax. Smell that. Not beeswax, cheaper river reeds rendered translucent by moonlight soaking. Records show 17 repair shops along this canal alone, though only 3 had licenses to handle nobles. Moth-eaten canopies, rumor says disgraced samurai ran the unlicensed ones. Mending parasols by day, forging swords by night. He splices your umbrella's fractured rib with a sliver of aged bamboo, its grain matched like lock and key. Here's the trick: split the spine at the node, not between. Do it right, and the mend strengthens the entire structure. Do it wrong, your umbrella becomes a floppy batsu sign declaring amateur to every tea house gossip. A cat brushes past dangling fishtail pliers. They clink like wind chimes. Don't laugh. Those tools were sacred. Guild rules forbid touching another craftsman's implements without reciting a 7-line, whether haiku first. Break protocol. You'd spend a week scrubbing wax off every surface, including the apprentices. The repairman lights a palm-sized brazier, flame reflecting in his monocle. Watch closely. He's not just drying glue. The heat coaxes oiled paper to shrink-wrap the mend. Original Edo period canopies used washi paper made from mulberry bark, its fibers swelling tight as drumheads when wet. Modern replicas. They sag like disappointed salarymen's shoulders. You spot cracked ribs stacked near the entry, labeled with red twine. Not trash. Training puzzles for new apprentices. The shop master would snap spare parts and force students to rebuild them blindfolded. Legend claims some masters could smell a poorly aligned joint, punishing offenders with extra radish peeling duty. A drop of rainwater slips through the ceiling, plinking onto an anvil. The craftsman doesn't look up. He knows. Every roof hole here is deliberate anti-theft devices. Try stealing tools during a storm. You'd leave a drip trail. Even novice trackers could follow. He hands back your umbrella, repaired rib indistinguishable from the original. But wait, that faint shimmer on the mend. Gold leaf powdered into the glue. Not for vanity, nobles demanded invisible repairs. The gold helped craftsmen spot botched jobs under lantern light. Commoners got cricket blood adhesive. Still sticky, just less fancy. A boy rushes in clutching a parasol, snapped in two, his eyes wide as rice bowls. The master flicks a finger toward the waiting stump, polished smooth by anxious thighs. Patience, kid. Your time comes after the merchant's wife's peony-patterned disaster and the fishmonger's eel-gut-encrusted loner. Underneath, the workbench tiny notches. One for each repair completed during typhoons. The record, 42 in one night. Though historians still argue whether that count includes the craftsman's own umbrellas. Skeptics note the shop's accounting ledger mysteriously mentions 42. As the masters age that year, night deepens. The last candle gutters as you exit, your umbrella's shadow stretching like a freshly inked brushstroke. You almost miss the moss-green string tied near the handle. A gift, the craftsman's signature, his way of saying, "I vouched for this fix." Snap it off, and the next rain'll find every weak point. A passing porter bumps your elbow, his load of split bamboo rattling like a xylophone. He mutters an apology through teeth, gripping a repair manual. Apprentices had to memorize every page, including the infamous umbrella autopsy diagrams. Cause of death, shoddy craftsmanship, or owner arrogance. Spoiler, it's usually the latter. Wind whispers through the workshop's broken window pane, an unpaid repair job. Irony's alive here. The master's own parasol leans in a corner, patched so thoroughly it resembles a quilt. Pride. No, a billboard. Each mend proved he practiced what he preached, even if the result looked like a carp's scales. You pause beneath a shop banner flapping in the drizzle, its faded characters urging, "Mend with the moon's patience." Not poetry, literal advice. Craftsmen insisted full moon nights, warped bamboo less during drying. Try scheduling that in modern Tokyo, rain starts anew as you reach the bridge, your umbrella's ribs creaking a familiar song. The repair holds. For now. Edo's ghosts nod approval, their own patched parasols glowing like beetle wings in the mist. Rain drums its fingers on your umbrella as you shelter beneath the bridge's belly. The same bridge Edo merchants once used as a barometer. Look up. Those swirling patterns on the ceiling beams aren't decoration. They're weather maps, ghostly clouds daubed in indigo, and ash, each curl predicting downpour intensity. A tea house owner scowls at the painted cumulus above his awning plump as a rice-stuffed squid. Bad news. That cloud shape meant monsoon malice. He yanks the hemp cord, his umbrella rack folding shut like a metal fan. No loans until sunset. 17th century merchants consulted these skies more than their profit ledgers. A fact historians verified using moldy weather diaries. But here's the kicker. Those cloud charts weren't original. They cribbed from a Chinese meteorology manual, sideways. Edo artists flipped the diagrams so they'd face the proper direction for Japanese winds. You trace a jagged lightning motif near the beam's end, its gold leaf flaking like sunburned skin. Touching it was forbidden. Why? Superstition claimed fingernails conducted sky anger into the wood. True believers wore silk gloves during inspections. The rest, they risked phantom shocks, tingling palms warning of incoming storms. A maid scurries past balancing tea trays, her clogs kicking up bridge mist. Notice her neck tattoo, a miniature nimbostratus. Servants wore these as walking forecasts, their employers checking collars instead of windows. Cheaper than hiring a weather priest, though less accurate during weddings. Drip, drip, drip. That's not rain. An apprentice perches on a ladder, reapplying lacquer to a cirrus formation. His brush hand wobbles. Guild rules demanded divination murals be retouched during actual rainfall, the moisture binding, predictions to reality. One slip up. The whole district's umbrella schedule went kablooey. 3 merchants huddle nearby, arguments hissing like wet logs. Their problem: contradictory forecasts. The silk trader's beam shows stratus, gentle showers. The rice seller's zigzag lines scream hail. The compromise: borrowing half-length parasols. A solution satisfying nobody but the hat makers. You spot a pigeon nest wedged between rafters, twigs woven through a tsunami wave mural. Bad omen. Locals believed birds corrupted sky readings, their wings stirring false breezes. Solution: hire orphaned boys as nest removers. Their payment: umbrella rentals during exam seasons, clever bribery masking as charity. A drop plops onto your cheek, not from above. The painted cumulonimbus leaks, its papier-mâché core rotting. Irony alert: the art predicting rain gets ruined by rain. Craftsmen saw this as divine critique, weather gods chuckling at human hubris. Repair crews worked only on sunny days, which Edo had roughly 6 of per year. Hungry, sniff the air. That's not miso soup. Street vendors sold cloud rice, sticky globs shaped like stratus formations. Eat a cumulus-shaped dumpling, risk gas. Inhale a cirrus wafer, guaranteed hiccups. The logic: food mimicking air should unsettle digestion. Didn't stop tourists gobbling them during festival weeks. A scholar frowns at a beam, his charcoal rubbings smudging. He's comparing cloud motifs across 12 bridges. His theory: the paintings encode secret trade routes. Proof: umbrella libraries near stormier, murals loaned sturdier canopies, hinting at merchant trails needing durability. Counterargument: maybe they just had better craftsmen. Rain softens to mist, the painted stratus glowing with trapped moisture. Time to move. But wait, that apprentice's ladder blocks your path. He's adding a new cloud, a sheep-shaped blotch unseen in historical records. Progress or sacrilege depends whether tomorrow's storm feels ovine. Your sleeve catches on a nail, ripping a thread. Coincidence: the bridge's nail quota matched lunar phases. 29 nails per beam during waxing moons, 31 while waning. This one's a rogue, hammered in during a solar eclipse. Defiant, or just bad math, children's laughter echoes off the canal. They're tossing paper planes at the murals, a game called Pierce the Typhoon. Winners got licorice sticks. Losers licked the ceiling beams, tasting tomorrow's weather. Most reports mentioned wood flavor with hints of pigeon. The tea house owner reopens his umbrella rack, sunshine spearing through retreating clouds. His beam's prediction failed. The squall ended early. Punishment: he'll host free kombu tea for the guild. Historians still argue whether these inaccurate forecasts were honest mistakes or tactical lies to control borrowing demand. You step back into drizzle, your umbrella unfurling with a rebellious squeak. The bridge's murals whisper behind you. They'll be wrong again tomorrow, and the day after. That's the point. Edo's magic lived in the guessing, not the getting right. A shopgirl squints at the sky, then consults her sleeves, embroidered alto cumulus. She smiles. Lunch break. You follow her lead, pocketing your umbrella despite lingering droplets. Trust the fabric, not the faded beams. Some traditions, whether better than others, the shopgirl's embroidered clouds blur as you duck into a perfumed alcove, your sandals squeaking on wood, polished by 1,000 hurried steps. Breathe in that musky cedar scent. Status. Oil paper umbrellas line the left wall, translucent ghosts trembling in drafty air. To your right, straw peasants huddle like battered mushrooms. Edo's rainy caste system, woven in wax and reeds, a lord's attendant glides past, 3 oiled parasols strapped to his back. Silk tassels sway, each not declaring his master's district. Touch one. You'd lose fingernails. Historians confirm daimyos used umbrella trains during processions, portable status symbols dwarfing their actual rain needs. But this attendant's third canopy hides smuggled plums. You catch the fruity tang. Penalty for that, a month polishing samurai armor with tear-dampened silk. Your sleeve snags a straw umbrella's ragged edge. Coarse fibers dig into your palm cheap, quick to mold, guaranteed to leak by week's end. Peasants patched theirs with mulberry bark and spite. Ever heard of rain martyrs, drunkards who accidentally took lords' umbrellas, then tripped into koi ponds? Their soggy sermons about equality annoyed everyone, especially the fish. A merchant's wife inspects paper parasols, her fingers avoiding the lower shelves. Only widows' touched umbrellas dyed with indigo and grief. See those blackened bamboo ribs, charred during husband's funeral pyre, a morbid receipt. She hesitates. Historians still argue whether merchant-class umbrellas contained hidden compartments. Some museum pieces rattle WITH, Chinese letter pills. You round a corner into humidity, thick as miso broth. Apprentices steam bamboo strips over iron pots, the air reeking of patience. A master craftsman tests a rib's bend its size like a courtesan's fan. His tool, a whalebone smoother passed down from Yashimasa's reign. True shoguns gifted these to loyal umbrella guilds. The whale's spirit supposedly repelled termites and nosy tax collectors. 2 geisha giggle behind oil paper screens, their parasols propped like cherry blossom bouquets. One twirls hers, a coded flick telling suitors to wait. The other's sits motionless, a silent, my dance cards drowning. Their lacquered handles glow with crushed pearl. Rumor says courtesans rubbed these on their necks before meetings, leaving paramours moonstruck by shimmer and sweat. A child tugs your sleeve, offering a straw umbrella, no bigger than a rice paddle. For your kitten, he lisps. Cute hustle. Reality. These toy umbrellas trained noble kids to hoard dry spaces, tiny tyrants guarding puddle thrones. Some became miniature tyrants, using them to whack servants' ankles. Rain crescendos on the roof, a chaotic tempo. Workers scramble to reposition bucket lanterns. Their light bounces off a forgotten relic, an umbrella forged from chainmail and bear hide, military rainwear used during Toyotomi Hideyoshi's Korean campaigns. Useless in drizzle, but fantastic for deflecting enemy haiku insults. You drift toward a display umbrella spread on silk cushions, its ribs inlaid with mother-of-pearl cranes. Touch the handle. Security ninjas descend from rafters, probably. This monstrosity cost more than a farmer's yearly rice yield, yet its never felt rain kept pristine for clan pride. The real power move. Lords lent these to rivals during downpours, knowing the guilt-tripped borrower would repay in land deeds. A commotion erupts near the straw section. A monk argues with a fishmonger over a borrowed umbrella's spiritual weight. Every raindrop it deflects weighs your karma, he thunders. The fishmonger retorts his wit as sharp as his eel-gutting knife. Their compromise: donate clams to the temple. Half of them already dead. Your lungs itch from incense, vanilla masking mold. Time to leave. But a flicker of green stops you. Behind a threadbare screen, a servant girl oils a paper parasol with stolen elegance. Her strokes whisper rebellion. Use the wrong wax, a lashing. Skip a fold, rations halved. Yet her humming suggests she's done this before, perhaps dreaming of drier days. Outside, the downpour softens. You shake your umbrella, a peasant model's weary shudder. Across the street, a lord's oiled canopy gleams like a beetle's shell. Between you stretches a mirror puddle, its surface blurring both reflections into gray. Edo's rain falls equally, but never the same way twice. The puddle's ripples guide you toward a tea house's glowing shoji. Its paper doors pulse like moth wings. Inside, rain drums on cedar shingles as you kneel on tatami, still smelling of summer grass. A tetsubin kettle hisses over charcoal, its iron belly softening rooftop runoff into something creamier. Your host arranges matcha bowls with surgical care, bamboo whisk poised like a heron's neck. That sound between rainfall and steam isn't accidental. Tea masters timed ceremonies to thunderstorms, believing angry skies made water supple. Historical records confirm Sen. No, Rikyu once waited 3 days for a downpour to brew a warlord's apology tea. Damp sleeves brush the lacquered tray, no apologies offered. Rain-soaked silk was excused, if patterned with respectable storms. Peasant homespun, you'd be polishing teacups till autumn. The first sip bursts with unexpected umami. That's the secret. Downpours leach minerals from Edo's clay roofs, giving water an earthy kick. Modern sommeliers tried replicating this, ended up with vase runoff tasting of dead irises. Your bowl warms palms still chilled by street air. Notice the server's sleeve cuffs, dampened deliberately. Tea lore claims moistened cloth neutralizes negative energy. Skeptics counter it's just sweat from hauling hot kettles. A droplet plops onto your knee. The host doesn't flinch. Strategic spills were considered good omens, unless it hit the sugar jar. 3 bowls later, rain still needles the roof. Your fingers find the bowl's hidden ridge, a texture only present on storm-used ceramics. Kiln masters altered molds when monsoon clouds gathered a tactile forecast. Rumor says one apprentice got fired for etching "This sucks" in Braille. But that might just be guild propaganda. The host unveils wagashi sweets shaped like crumbling clouds. Bite into one anko paste, floods your tongue with sweetness cut by salt. A masterstroke. They're brined with rooftop runoff, the same water steeping your tea. Purists call it sacrilege. Historians still argue whether rainfall notes were considered official tea ceremony ingredients, or just lazy chefs using free seasoning. Across the room, a merchant's daughter accidentally snaps her dry parasol open. The host's eye twitch says it all umbrellas indoors insult the rain gods. Her punishment, drinking the next bowl's froth. A punishment invented by tea snobs who hated smiles during rituals. Rain slackens to a murmur, the signal to leave. You linger, fingering a teacup's storm-roughened glaze. Some claim these textures held memory, that lips touching the rim could taste yesterday's thunderstorms. As you exit, a final detail. That Wacom seaweed garnish on your tray. It wasn't for eating. Masters used it to absorb rainfall's shrillness. Then fed the soggy remains to grumpy temple carp. You step from the tea house into air heavy. With the promise of more rain, your sandals find purchase on raised wooden planks, slick with mist. These elevated pathways aren't just for keeping hems dry. They're Edo's sneaky answer to monsoons. Historians praise them as early flood control, though locals likely just called it not drowning today. The planks slope imperceptibly, guiding runoff toward glints of purple in the distance. Iris gardens, nature's sponge, drink greedily from the street's overflow. Their sword-shaped leaves tremble with every droplet, guardians converting chaos into coiled beauty. You pause at a warped board. Its underside reveals hollow channels carved like bamboo veins. Rain gurgles through them, a lullaby only tadpoles understand. A merchant's apprentice slips, his bundle of indigo cloth unfurling into a makeshift sail. He laughs, not at the fall, but the reveal beneath. The accident exposes a forgotten filter, layers of pebbles and charcoal crusted with decades of grime. These trapped cherry blossom petals and lost hairpins, Edo's stormwater system doubling as a time capsule. Your guide points to roof gutters shaped like inverted umbrellas, their ribs funneling rain into ceramic jars below. But look closer, those jars feed into narrow trenches, hugging the iris beds. A street sweeper demonstrates, pouring yesterday's runoff over radish seedlings. Same water protects and feeds. He grins, missing teeth, mirroring the gutter's gaps. Here's the twist. Those vibrant iris hues weren't just decorative. Blues and purples mask algae growth, or so claim pragmatic engineers. Romantics insist daimyos demanded color coordination with their wives' kimonos. Historians still argue whether aesthetics or algae prevention drove the palette. Passions flare faster than flash floods. You crouch by a murky pond, ghostly, koi nibble your shadow. Their ancestors were sanitation workers, gobbling mosquito larvae from these man-made marshes. A child skips past, her wooden clog kicks a pebble into the water. Ripples trigger a hidden mechanism. A nearby sluice gate creaks open. Play meets practicality. Edo's genius. Notice the bridges. Their arches aren't mere decoration. Each curve calculates water velocity too steep, and the current erodes iris roots. Too shallow, and stagnation breeds fevers. A weathered plaque lists names, not of architects, but poets who composed verses about liquid geometry. Dusk brings the day's true test. Workers dismantle sections of walkway. They're not repairing, they're reprogramming. Planks repositioned by moonlight redirect tomorrow's rain toward persimmon orchards. You pocket a smoothed stone from the riverbed, unofficial payment for appreciating their silent choreography. The last light catches something glinting in the mud, a broken umbrella rib. Its end curls like a beckoning finger. You follow its tilt toward a gutter now sprouting wild chrysanthemums. Even in decay, Edo's rain machines nurture life. As fireflies blink awake, you inhale petrichor and wet wood. That scent isn't random. The irises release extra fragrance during downpours, a perfumed plea for bees to keep pollinating. Storm be damned. You agree, drenched blooms outshine the sun any day. Night's velvet curtain drops, lanterns along the eaves cough amber light onto wet cobblestones. Your sandals tap Morse code against stone, 3 quick steps between each pool of glow. These curfew markers aren't mere streetlights, they're timekeepers. Miss the last toll of the temple bell. Pray your umbrella tag stays pocketed. A rice paper window slides open. A silhouette extends bamboo tongs. You trade your dripping parasol for a warm cedar token stamped with indecipherable characters. It's the Edo equivalent of a parking stub, except losing it means composing poetry till sunrise. Watch an apprentice scribe scramble. His tag flutters into a gutter's gullet. His groan harmonizes with distant thunder, nature's laugh track. Here's the catch-all loan records burned at midnight. No tag, no proof you didn't hoard 40 parasols for some illicit umbrella fortress. The night watchman's ledger lies open, its pages hungry for your excuse. 3 lines, he growls, inkstone already grinding your shame. Historians still argue whether the haiku rule fostered creativity or just saved candle wax on ink. You glimpse a shadow theater through shoji screens. A merchant bows dramatically to a scribe. Their hands flutter like cranes, negotiating haiku word counts. Turns out wealthy taxpayers could buy synonym scrolls, 17 syllables stretched into 25, with creative hyphenates, a scandalous loophole, or early form of poetic plea bargaining. Breathe in charcoal and damp linen. The watch house's brazier devours failed attempts. One rice merchant's ode to tardiness floats up as smoke. Forgot the time / like bloom forgets spring / sorry. His second draft's marginally better. A drunk samurai stumbles in twin parasols crossed on his back like swords. His haiku weaponized self-pity. Moon drowned in sake / steel rusts in summer rain / forgive this fool. The scribe rolls his eyes, but accepts it. Turns out flattery worked better than rhymes. Many verses ended with "O wise gatekeeper" in flowing calligraphy. Dawn's first light pales the lanterns. Last-minute scribblers lick brushes dry. Their ink-stained tongues testify to all-night struggles. One genius tries illustrating his apology. The scribe rewards him with extra chores. Ethics aside, the system worked. Records show 80% fewer lost umbrellas after haiku enforcement, though literacy rates suspiciously spiked. Your fingers brush a wall's hidden tally marks, hash lines grouped in fives. Locals whisper this counted particularly terrible poems. That one cluster with 37 scratches. Probably someone rhyming rain with rain 17 times. A bell tower's gong shatters the gray morning. Workers dismantle the midnight ledger stand. Its planks become a fishmonger's counter by noon. You pocket a fallen ink stick, its scent lingering long after storms pass. Some rules aren't meant to last. Just nudge civilization gently forward. The final haiku master strides past her verse, fluttering from a pole like a surrender flag. Night retreats barefoot / day dawns borrowed light. Both owe the rain. You file it under good enough and step into the downpour gloveless. What's the worst they could make you write? Rain softens to mist, street gutters morph into miniature rapids. You nearly step on a flotilla of paper boats, each folded from discarded rental agreements. A gaggle of children materializes, their reed baskets brimming with origami samurai helmets meant for maritime conquest. Daimyo of the drainage ditch, a boy declares, launching his vessel toward a culvert's gaping maw. His competitors' boats bob wildly, some capsize immediately due to flawed keel folds. Here's your mainstream history lesson disguised as play. These games secretly taught fluid dynamics. Fast currents demand triangular prows. Lazy bends favor wider hulls. A girl shrugs, water's picky. Ancient drainage maps confirm it. Edo's engineers studied which neighborhoods bred the best junior boatwrights. The quirkiest tidbit. Kids used fallen warrior umbrellas as observation decks. Flip a broken parasol upside down. Voila, instant carp-viewing dome. Kneel inside that waxed paper hemisphere. Watch golden scales ripple beneath rain-pricked puddles. A shriek erupts downstream. Someone's flagship gets devoured by an actual fish. Koi breach like aquatic dragons, their whiskered mouths gulping kamikaze paper fleets. Historians still argue whether these fish were accidental participants or deliberately starved before storms. Either way, They're ruthless judges of craftsmanship. You spot a strategic alliance, forming 3 kids dam a rivulet with geisha sandals. Their pooled water becomes a battle arena, armadas circling like preening swans. That's cheating, accuses a lone admiral. His rivals counter by lobbing pebble cannonballs. Hydrodynamics be damned. A toddler waddles past, diaper soaked, clutching a pine needle like it's Admiral Togo's sword. He stabs at a puddle, detonating a mosquito larvae colony. Nobody told him this is educational. Pure chaos reigns. Dusk brings mothers clucking through the drizzle, their calls warping into playful warnings. Your brain's rusting, scolds one, while secretly admiring her daughter's triple-layered hull design. Another bribes her son home with promises of machi shaped like rain hats. Lanterns flicker on transforming watery trenches into glowing amber canals. The kids depart, but their fleet fights on. You witness a solo boat's Odyssean journey. It survives 3 whirlpools and a leaf ambush before snagging on a frog's toe. Later, under moonlit puddles, the real magic happens. Drop a dried plum seed into a gutter's flow. Track its path through 6 districts by dawn. Many a sleep-deprived child became Edo's unofficial hydrology expert. Their pillow notes later used for flood maps. One impertinent youth proved it. He redirected storm runoff into a Zen garden's pebble maze. The head monk retaliated by hiring him as an apprentice. Karma's funny that way, masterpieces born from mischief. As night deepens, you spot latecomers testing stealth tactics. Sock-footed boys float candlelit boats past samurai guard posts, their whispers muffled by rain's white noise. If caught, punishment involves transcribing water-stained poetry until curfew. Dawn reveals the battlefield. Soggy papyrus carcasses cling to sewer grates like defeated ghosts. A single victorious craft survives, its hull stained with mud and glory. Some say these games birthed Japan's first nautical engineers. Others insist they just kept brats from tracking mud indoors. Either way, you pocket a half-drowned boat. Its folded creases hold more wisdom than any scroll. Crisp air slices through yesterday's damp. Your sandals crunch over maple leaves, fossilized into the cobblestones. Ahead, a battalion of parasols flap like grounded cranes. Their all-paper wings stretch wide, finally tasting sunlight after months, hunched in cedar tombs. You join the autumn ritual, hundreds of Edo citizens airing their rain shields. Observe the technique, handles slotted into bamboo racks at precise 72-degree angles. Historians confirm this practice prevented mold. Though why 72? Blame an obsessive shogun who adored prime numbers. The quirkiest secret hides in storage boxes. Workers layered moth-repelling cedar with dried hydrangea petals, but some swear the real deterrent was samurai widow's perfume, lingering in the wood. Ghostly aromas, even bugs respect. A gust disrupts the symmetry. Parasols shudder like startled geese. Drunk salarymen wobble past, their laughter tearing holes in the fragile hush. One grabs a handle, twirls a pale green canopy like a courtesan's fan. Elders cluck, respect the drying. But their scolds lack teeth. Everyone remembers their first unauthorized spin. You stoop to inspect, repairs, the Frankenstein stitches of a patched parasol. Someone glued mulberry bark reinforcements over wormholes, then painted cherry blossoms to hide the scars. Frugality as art, Edo's unofficial motto. Notice the hierarchy commoners. Umbrellas face east to fade evenly. Aristocratic ones hog south-facing racks, their silk layers already glowing like dragonfly wings. A merchant's daughter rebelliously angles her family's parasol westward. Let the sun bleach our debts away, she mutters. Children weave through the forest of spokes, playing I Spy with peekaboo gaps. A toddler licks a parasol's edge, tasting centuries of beeswax and rain. His mother swoops in. That's not mache. As historians still argue whether Edo street food vendors actually sold honeyed umbrella scraps, murmurs ripple through the crowd. A famed courtesan's parasol unfurls itself. Paper so thin it's nearly translucent, painted with a landscape visible only when backlit. Hold it up, Mount Fuji's shadow materializes, until clouds snuff the illusion. The crowd exhales as one. Dusk brings lanterns shaped like inverted umbrellas, their rattan ribs casting spiderweb patterns. Workers begin the careful folding ritual, each crease rehearsed like kabuki choreography. One apprentice falters, his clumsy fingers denting a spine. The master craftsman sighs, then demonstrates the swan's neck technique, thumbs rolling paper as gently as shaping sushi rice. As stars prick the sky, you overhear hushed debates. 3 scholars squabble over a parasol painted with peculiar clouds. It's a weather almanac, insists one. Love letters, claims another. The third smirks. Someone just had extra ink. By moonrise, the racks stand empty. But cedar boxes won't swallow their treasures, yet parasols destined for attic limbo. You spot a lone umbrella left behind its handle, carved with blooming wisteria. Touch the wood, feel winter's first frost beginning to bite. Tomorrow, this relic becomes a squirrel's trampoline or a poet's muse. For now, it drinks moonlight undiluted, the last guest at summer's wake. Your breath swirls in the dawn chill, frost still crusting the abandoned parasol's wisteria carvings. Follow the scent of pine soot ink to a lantern-lit workshop. Inside, 3 scribes hunch over stretcher frames, rice paper stretched taut as drumheads. Their brushes dart, testing characters on waxed umbrella segments. Waterproofing meets poetry, murmurs the head scribe Knuckles, stained indigo. He demonstrates, dipping a badger hair brush into ink mixed with gelatinized seaweed. The first stroke beads up, perfectly resisting the mock rain sprayed from a bamboo mister. Second stroke bleeds, rebellious tendrils sprawling like drunken spider legs. Here's the kicker, they're replicating a 1673 technique. Tax collectors originally commissioned these tests, needing stormproof receipts during monsoon patrols. But artists hijacked the project. Soon, umbrella canopies became scratch paper for haiku drafts and grocery lists. Peek at the failure wall. Dozens of rejected experiments. One segment shows a lotus bloom whose petals dissolve when wetted, a cheeky metaphor for fleeting love. Another has sumier cranes that grow legs when damp. The quirkiest, a forgery detection test, silk-based ink that turns purple if tampered with. They never used it. Turns out most thieves were illiterate. You try a brushstroke, your clumsy attempt blossoms into a Rorschach blob. Perfect, chuckles an apprentice. Fold the canopy right, it becomes a map of Lake Biwa. Historians still argue whether these mistake art pieces were deliberate or just clerks covering their tracks. Watch them simulate downpours, gourd dippers sloshing water onto freshly inked proverbs. Characters survive according to brush angle, downstrokes hold firm, while flicked endings wash away. It's calligraphy, Darwinism. Only the strongest glyphs endure. The head scribe reveals their piece de resistance, a parasol predicting rainfall through hidden ink. Dry weather keeps the design simple, just cirrus wisps. Humidity coaxes thunderclouds from the paper's fibers. A meteorological mood rings centuries before tempescope apps. Lunch breaks the tension, everyone chewing salted plums while critiquing each other's drip patterns. One junior scribe gets scolded, his abstract ink runs suspiciously resemble the master's bald spot. By afternoon, the real test, they mount a finished canopy outdoors. Raindrops hit like drumsticks, each collision morphing the artist's intent. What began as a dragon becomes a squid, then a willow, then a smudge worthy of modern art galleries. The crew applauds defeatedly. Their masterpiece, now a Rorschach test for pigeons. As twilight purples the workshop, you notice something odd. Hidden in the eaves, a century-old canopy labeled CNSORED. Hold it to the light, the ink somehow repels water, but dissolves in tears. No one knows who made it, or why shogunate officials ordered 7 copies burned. The scribes gift you a flawed specimen, its surface declaring, persevere through storms in elegant geisha. By the time you reach the street, first droplets unravel the message. Only one rebellious stroke remains, a single horizontal line shining bold against the gray. You tilt the umbrella, watching it point east like a compass. Somewhere, a long-dead artist is laughing. Your sandals squelch through rivulets, the dissolving umbrella barely shielding you from Edo's tantrum. A wet snick cuts through rain's white noise. You pivot, finding a samurai's old paper canopy aimed at your throat. The ribs shiver, one slides free with a metallic whisper. A tanto blade glints where bamboo should be. Tactical parasols, the Edo period's Swiss army knives. Samurai strutted through storms armed to the teeth, their umbrellas concealing daggers, chain weapons, even poison vials. historical records confirm blade mechanisms. But here's the kicker. Some handles doubled as flint strikers. Rain-soaked duels demanded improvised sparks. Duck beneath a merchant's awning, your borrowed umbrella still dripping rebellion. Observe a nearby reenactor demonstrating Suigari Ryu umbrella combat. He spins the canopy, blades fanning out like a metal chrysanthemum. Authentic technique, he claims, though you notice Velcro straps under his hakama. The real pros hid more than steel. Museum x-rays reveal hollow ribs storing lockpicks or coded scrolls. Quirkiest find, a 1723 specimen with urine preserved in its handle, likely for foiling pursuit dogs. Whips away from reenactors' scripts, wander past a blacksmith stall. The clang of bamboo meeting metal fills the air. Craftsmen once laminated steel between paper ribs, invisible, until the parasol snapped open. Historians still argue whether the alloy weakened structures, or if breakaway blades were part of the ambush theatrics. Test a replica's release mechanism. The spring-loaded dagger jams, as most originals did when rust fused moving parts. Battlefield umbrellas favored simplicity. A single tanto slot overcomplicated traps. Your guide mimes a rain assassination, using the canopy's snap-open motion to mask blade deployment. Practical, maybe during summer monsoons, when every third person jerked umbrellas skyward. Notice a curator scrutinizing handle carvings. Certain patterns indicated blade presence, a courtesy to fellow warriors. Miss the cipher? That's how Lord Nabeshima allegedly lost his favorite eyebrow and 3 inches of scalp. Shelter inside a tea house displaying captured parasols. One's silk canopy shows arrow slits, a makeshift shield for ducking horseback archers. The linen liner, stained with centuries-old makeup, some courtesans wrote love pledges in rouge between battles. Dusk deepens the rain, now sheets of falling iron. Your guide reveals the ultimate umbrella trick, counterweighted canopies yanked downward to blind opponents. Works great, unless your enemy remembers you're both drenched and tiptoeing on mud. As lanterns gutter, the reenactor's Velcro finally fails. His decorative blades clatter into a puddle shaped like Honshu. He shrugs, offering you a business card printed on waterproof washi. Some traditions adapt better than others. You depart, tracing your umbrella's hidden spine. No blade grooves, just that stubborn, rebellious stripe glowing in gaslight. Or is that a hinge? Press harder, sweat prickling your neck. When your thumb finds the hinge, cold brass biting skin, as rain slicks the mechanism. A click cuts the storm's drone. The parasol's ribs tighten into a cage around your face. Through waxed paper slats, a geisha's lacquered lips curve beneath her own canopy. Tilted precisely 30 degrees east, this tilt means approach. Or so claims Dr. Yumahara's contested 1998 thesis. Geishas turned parasols into semaphore systems, each angle telegraphing moods, or mile-a-minute gossip. A 45-degree slump signaled occupied by tedious client. 90 degrees meant follow discreetly. Historical records prove lords paid tutors to decode these rain-drenched hieroglyphs. Step closer. The geisha snaps her umbrella shut with wrist-flick grace. Droplets arc toward your sandals, a deliberate test. You mirror her movement, or try to fumbling the closure like a modern teen swiping left. She laughs, a sound like wind chimes in a shrine grove. Her parasol's crimson silk shimmers with 7 layers of Urashi lacquer, each cured in humid cellars to outlast typhoons. Peer closer between the layers. See those faint bumps under the cranes, wings, forgotten love notes pressed between resin coats, 18th century stickies for paramours. Some still legible, meet where plum blossoms drown in puddles. A drizzle resumes. She tilts the canopy backward, exposing her neck's pearl powder to mist. This stance, documented in Maury Sozin's rain gestures scrolls, invited trusted clients to share her shelter. The trick, keeping faces dry while ankles soaked, status measured in hemlines. Historians still argue whether the half-twirl flourish was flirting or a distress signal to nearby bodyguards. You attempt the spin, the handle, nearly yanking your arm socket loose. She tusks, adjusting your grip to hover between 4th and 5th ribs. Muscle memory matters. Geisha apprentices practiced with weighted umbrellas while reciting poetry. Note the monkey's fist not dangling from her obi, a rainy day cheat sheet. Each braid loop translates a tilt angle. The green cord, code for lone shark approaching, divert conversation. Sudden downpour, she guides you beneath a sagging storefront awning. Her parasol handle taps the wooden planks, 3 quick, 2 slow. Beneath your feet, the shop's rain barrel gurgles. A hidden compartment grinds open inside its mossy staves, offering dry towels folded like origami herons. Service with secrets, she murmurs, using her canopy to shield the mechanism. This kabuki-level hospitality stunned Dutch traders, their 1639 journals mention. Bewitching parasol witches who conjured tea sets from thin air, the quirkiest twist. Certain geishas glued gold leaf to their canopies, underside, creating instant status mirrors during abrupt showers. Vanity trumped practicality. Those deluxe models weighed enough to dislocate shoulders mid-storm. Your borrowed umbrella groans, its spine protesting the humidity. She traces a finger along the rattan, pausing at a nearly invisible seam. Some stored more than blades, she whispers. With a twist, the handle detaches into a perfume atomizer. Bergamot and deception mingle in the damp. Lightning flash. The awning's shadow stretches her silhouette into a kabuki monster parody. She reattaches the handle. All business now. Mirror umbrellas for touch-ups between encores. Poison atomizers for rivals' achoko cups. Her smile suggests she's joking. Mostly, dusk thickens. Lanterns reflected in 1,000 raindrops become suspended fireflies. She demonstrates the disappearing act, angling her parasol to eclipse her face from the nearest magistrate's spy, a childhood spent mastering solar angles, just to flash an incognito grin at forbidden crushes. As she melts into the storm's gauze, her final tilt matches the leaning pines across the avenue. Decoding it would require a reference book or reckless curiosity. You choose door number 2, splashing toward the silhouette of branches, while your umbrella hums a warped lullaby. Its handle grows warm, or maybe that's your pulse thrumming with rain's coated heartbeat. Rain hammers your borrowed parasol into a warped drumhead as duck-footed merchants wave you into their quarter. The air reeks of hot beeswax and iron filings. Someone's sealing contracts mid-monsoon. A shopboy thrusts a ledger at your chest, its pages warped into topography maps from humidity. Sign here if the wax sticks. He grins, pointing to a puddled table. Merchants pioneered weatherproof deeds, dipping bamboo stamps in resin instead of ink. The real power move, pressing seals into still liquid wax during downpours. Rapid cooling guaranteed legibility. 19th century tax records prove this boosted loan approvals by 60%. Or so claims the Kyoto Merchant Guild's suspiciously pristine archives. You crouch beside a blacksmith stall, his forge steam battling the rain's chill. Watch him pound hinge plates thinner than eel skin, curl-edged metal destined for umbrella ribs, each flex tested by yanking with oiled hemp ropes, stress trials disguised as tug-of-war games. Apprentices' palms bled into the cords, which bosses then sold as lucky talismans to superstitious lenders. A shriek cuts through the drizzle, 2 vendors play fighting over a rust-speckled hinge. Told you pine resin coatings prevent oxidation. Snarls the woman, her apron stained with failed experiments. Her rival hurls a glob of molten wax at her feet. It solidifies into a duck-shape midair. Your seals crack faster than a daimyo's marriage vows. Historians still argue whether wax colors denoted social rank or just personal flair. Crimson meant high-stakes deals. Green signaled installment plans. But that indigo-stained contract by the sake barrel, its zigzag seal matches divorce papers found in 2003 beneath Osaka's toilets. Make of that what you will. Dodge a porter's wobbling umbrella hat, its brim stacked with hinge prototypes. The triple joint model lets canopies collapse into forearm sheaths, perfect for sudden stabbings or discreetly storing pickled plums. Inventors claim faster access than a kabuki actor's tear ducts. You trace a stall's sample umbrella, the handle cold despite the forge's breath. Iron hinges replaced frayed cords here, each pivot point drilled by hand-cranked augers. Progress smelled like burnt bamboo and low-grade metal. But oh, the satisfying snick when ribs locked into place. A beadmaker slides you a lacquer tray, her wares clattering like a xylophone in a quake. Hollow beads thread through umbrella spines now, reduces weight by half. She demonstrates tossing a strand into the deluge. Pearls float briefly, then sink with prejudice. Still debugging buoyancy, she mutters, offering you a broken opal as a rain check. The quirkiest hustle. Black market umbrellas with handles unscrewing into counterfeit coin molds. Street urchins loved them until the shogunate's spies noticed odd were patterns on copper plates. Last summer's excavation near Edo Castle unearthed a child's grave containing 37 umbrella-derived forgeries, and one very perplexed beetle fossil dug into a tavern's lean-to, its rafters cluttered with rental trial parasols. A brewer slides you moss tea, oversteeped to mask puddle water. His prize display, a hinge sealed with whale blubber wax, still flexible after 50 winters, outlived 3 wives, he brags, knocking it like a door knocker. The hollow thunk suggests otherwise. Outside, a shoeshine boy buffs a merchant's geta with one hand, while adjusting his umbrella's reinforced apex cap with the other. The new screw-top design prevents leaks. If you ignore the drizzle sneaking through revolutionary gaps. Trade-off between innovation and slightly less rain in your eyes, he admits, squeezing his own lids shut against a gust. As twilight bleeds into the smog, lanterns reveal the quarter's true architect. Rust. It blooms orange across hinges, claws up door frames, festoons chains like decrepit jewelry. Tomorrow's merchants will scrape it off, reapply wax, pretend perfection. Tonight, it's a confession of entropy, and the first generation hinges, quiet surrender to time's teeth. Your thumb finds a stall's demo model, its mechanism stiff from unuse. The merchant slaps your wrist, grinning through rotten teeth. That one's for nobles who like their gadgets virgin, much like themselves. He wipes the handle, revealing a kanji carved by an apprentice's nervous blade. It reads, "Profit floats, dignity sinks." Thunder applauds as you exit, the umbrella's new hinges singing a metallic lullaby. Somewhere behind, wax sizzles, hammers falter, and a beadmaker's plink 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 drowns in the storm's throat. Rain's percussion fades as you shuffle beneath a cavernous pine, its needles diffusing the downpour into a misty private booth. A laminated scroll unfurls before you, waxed fibers repelling droplets like quicksilver. The attached brush drips ink, suspiciously similar to crushed snail shells, and possibly regret. Haiku stations mushroom across Edo during monsoon, official outlets for nature-inspired whining. Samurai scribbled between guard shifts, fishmongers dabbed verses on tuna wrappers. Even monks critiqued meter between funeral rites. Records show 17 rainfall-themed contests daily during peak wet season. Social pressure cranked higher than a sumo's loincloth knot. You dab ink while evaluating rhyme schemes. Pine size pairs with drowning spiders. But does that lean too tragic? A passing nun slaps your scroll, her clogs splattering warning mud. The 7th syllable must tremble like a mayfly's final wingbeat. She's gone before you ask how to spell wingbeat correctly. Historians still argue whether judging favored true talent or the borrower's rice tax bracket. That time, a daimyo's chef one with storm drains the sky's soup suggests culinary nepotism, yet the scrolls never lie. True gems glimmer through the sludge. Snort laugh at a vandal's addition beneath your stanza. My rental due tomorrow, please, like this haiku. Clever. Until you spot identical please on 6 neighboring posts. The pine's bark bristles with desperation. Woodpeckers pecking at sponsored verses witness the day's most shameless ploy. A poet rubs wet moss on his cheeks. Tears of the ancients, he sobs, while discreetly checking judges' reactions. His finale, frog croaks unanswered, / my dignity floats away / rental extension please. The crowd's pity claps drown out actual talent. Here's the scam scribes sell, guaranteed win haikus for 3 copper coins. Then reuse them at every station citywide. Last month's excavations revealed 23 identical lonely heron poems signed with different names. A feathered plagiarism army. Your kneecaps protest the crouch time to lean against the pine's resin-scabbed trunk. A hidden compartment whispers open previous poets, rejected drafts spilling out like literary entrails. Winter rain makes my socks crossed out. Cherry blobs fall smeared. Misty something, forget it, crumpled. Twist to see a judge's apprentice napping upright, his conical hat channeling rain onto a rival scroll. The sabotage backfires. Water blooms the ink into a stunning crane silhouette. The soaked poet rolls with it. Silent wings emerge / from my ruined verse / better than my words. Automatic finalist. Dusk brings lanterns shaped like floating syllables, each paper shade printed with classic haikus. They sway, casting shadows that fix your meter. Your final attempt. Pine needles hum / collecting the storm's loose coins / tomorrow's rental fee. A judge materializes, her umbrella's ribs clicking like an abacus. She stabs a cedar token into the mud by your knee. Free use until autumn equinox, unless you write better. The conditions. Recite your haiku to any librarian while balancing a turtle on a stick. As you exit, a teenage bard practices his winning grin on carp-filled puddles. His reflection mouthing, "Yes, my lord judge, the turtle metaphor was totally intentional." Somewhere behind pine resin seals, another desperate scroll snail ink washes downstream. And a truly terrible poet's grandmother lies about his talent. Again, your sandals surrender to the sucking mud first, toes curling as cold ooze claims its stolen foothold. Knee-high water wears its mustiest kimono today, algae streaks blooming like mold on old soup. You grip a bamboo pole slick with snail trails until its surface braille tells a secret. Those grooves aren't weathering, they're directional arrows carved by paranoid shopkeepers. 17th century drainage maps show merchants conspiring to angle flood flows toward rival storage sheds. One vindictive tofu seller allegedly diverted 6 streets worth of runoff into his ex-wife's miso cellar, the ultimate cold soup revenge. Modern sewers cling to these ancient grudge roots, karma flowing underground. A child's geta sandal floats past, sole upward like a miniature raft. Tradition claims flipped footwear guides spirits through flooded realms. But you're pretty sure that kid just lost his shoe. 3 more drift by, each marked with family crests. Historians still argue whether these became Edo's ad hoc lost and found system, or just lazy parenting. Wading past a noodle stand submerged counter, your thigh brushes something wriggling. Eel vendors once parked here during floods, their stock escaping into thigh-high buffets. A shopkeeper hisses from his rooftop perch, scooping straying fish with a butterfly net. Rent an eel catcher pole, he barks, or swim like yesterday's lunch. Your heel finds a sunken stepping stone path, its mossy back hidden by murk. Wealthy districts buried these flow guides after bad sushi metaphors. Rich men walk on submerged stones, the poor just drown. Follow them anyway, each toe stub leading toward an apothecary's raised platform. Halfway there, a clerk hurls sandbags from a second-story window. They burst midair, dried lavender and mugwort exploding into a herbal dam. Sneezes ripple through the crowd, allergies repurposed as flood control. Someone yells, "Bless you," with pointed sarcasm. Mid-19th century records mention rebellious servants tossing lords' silk kimonos into currents as makeshift absorbents. The shogunate banned textile flood mitigation. After 20 noblewomen paraded sopping waterlogged outfits at court. Rumor says their squelching synchronized into a diss track against rainy season. A tea caddy bobs by, its copper latch pried open by opportunistic carp. Inside, fermented tea leaves swell into a foul paste. 2 samurai-aged teens dared each other to taste flood-brewed chaizuk. The resulting vomit splatters became a tourist attraction. Come see the puddle that killed Yamamoto. Drew crowds until shrine priests exorcised it. You pivot to avoid a floating hairpin and step into the season's premiere humiliation. The underwater path branches here, 1 lane for commoners, 1 for officials. Guess which one's clogged with a flipped rickshaw. A guard bellows from his dry perch. Legal crossings, 19 coppers. His smirk suggests the coins fund his gambling habit. Backstroke through a rogue current, your sleeve snagging on a submerged signpost. Its carved warning glows through tea-colored water. Abandoned chest hair modesty beyond this point. Turns out chest-high flooding made kimonos clingy. A 1783 etiquette manual advised shaving pectorals pre-monsoon, a grooming trend that drowned in mockery. 3 shopkeepers churn butter in the sewage, or so you hope, using a salvaged geisha's picnic tub. Their laughter suggests stronger ingredients than dairy. A rice broker's ledger pages float past, last week's debts dissolving into pulp. Someone's celebrating tonight, until the bamboo tally sticks resurface, a grandmother hawkspits at your squelching progress. In my day, we balanced buckets on our heads. Her generation's flood look, no hands. Water amplifies generational shaming, echoing across 6 blocks. The apothecary's stairs rise like salvation until you spot the tollmaster. His measuring stick prods your collarbone. Water level, earlobe height, tolls double for luxury buoyancy. You glance down. Oh, that floating hairpin's tangled in your sash. Its pearl decoration glints, a dead giveaway. Bribe him with a mushy persimmon from your sleeve. He inspects it, licks mold off the skin, shrugs. 3/4 toll if you name this strain of fungi. Later, dripping on the apothecary's floor, you spot their top-selling flood tonic. Ingredients: licorice root, fermented plums, and morale-boosting lies. The clerk whispers, 70% placebo, 30% luckier socks. Outside, a brewer's apprentice floats past on lashed-together sake barrels. His cargo, emergency rations for stranded drinkers. You wave. He lobs a seaweed-wrapped rice ball. It unfurls midair, plopping into the flood as fish food. His shrug says everything. Rains hell on takeout. Drying off beneath a trompe l'oeil overhang, painted to look dry from specific angles. A dropout artist's revenge against his critic father. You sag against fake sunshine, real drizzle seeping through the illusion. Somewhere downstream, a disgraced poet repurposes his haiku scrolls into origami pumps. They'll fail spectacularly, but at least his verses finally move water. The trompe l'oeil's paint runs in grimy streaks as real rain infiltrates its sunny facade. Your sandal slurps free from the trickster canopy, stepping into lukewarm ankle soup that smells of rust and desperation. 5 streets over, a huddle of silk cushions floats on makeshift rafts, their embroidery dissolving into soggy Rorschach blots. Edo's aristocrats refused to cancel Tsukumi moon viewings for mere monsoons. History's original rain check. Flex. Servants scramble to erect oiled paper awnings between pine trees, stretching canopies, until they sag like spider webs after a feast. You grab a corner tie rope, fingers slipping on waxed hemp. The groundskeeper barks. Tighter. These rich bastards want their puddle reflections HD. Someone's tossed lacquered viewing platforms into the flood. They bob like overfed koi. A noblewoman's sleeve dips into the water as she reaches for pickled moon dumplings, her snack drifting toward a storm drain. Her gasp could freeze tea. Retrieve it, she orders a footman. He hesitates, eyeing the drain's swirling belly. Rumor says a disgraced sumo wrestler guards that tunnel, surviving on lost snacks and regret. Temporary lanterns sway from bamboo poles' flames, guttering behind mica shields. Their light glints off floating debris, transforming bottle caps into constellation coins. A poet in sopping robes points excitedly. See how the nail floats beside the fish scale. That's the autumn widow's belt. His companions nod, already drunk on rainwater-diluted sake. Historians still argue whether these improvised star maps inspired Edo's first waterproof astronomy scrolls, or just gave drunk intellectuals an excuse to avoid bedtimes. You pocket a twisted nail from the pseudo-galaxy, its rust staining your palm counterfeit stardust. A rain-soaked taiko drummer salvages his instrument, balance it on stacked sake crates. Each mallet strike sends concentric ripples through the flood emerging with distant thunder's baseline. The rhythm sinks with sloshing sandals, turning your walk into a reluctant dance. 3 geishas parody courtly steps nearby, their toe splash choreography mocking a shogun's pompous processions. Maidens once floated paper lanterns shaped like crescent moons, until flooded gutters birthed sink or swim divination games. Tonight's compromise: walnut shells bearing lovers' names. You watch 2 shells collide, their owners forced to share a towel under the leakiest awning. A priest chants blessings, or maybe just the takeout menu from that new udon cart. The wealthiest attendees commandeer vendor stalls, perching atop pickle barrels like soggy royalty. Their servants crane oiled umbrellas at precarious angles, turning rain defection into a competitive sport. A droplet slides down an earlobe, triggering dramatic sighs about ruined jade. You mutter a modern equivalent, ruined AirPods, earning confused side-eye. Mid-1800s, gossip journals claim a merchant's daughter staged an entire underwater tea ceremony during a flood complete with carp attendees. Scholars dismiss it as satire, but you notice suspiciously fish-shaped teacups in the apothecary's display case. Clouds clot the sky, moonlight reduced to a faint milk stain. A storyteller improvises. That blurry glow, that's the moon rabbit's dysplasia. Children toss mochi into the void, their treats sinking like edible anchors. One kid's rice ball bonks a sake drunker's head, instant urban legend. Temp check, iced green tea circulates via bamboo aqueducts, repurposed as beverage slides. A droplet plinks into your cup. The server insists it's premium mineral infusion. You detect distinct alleyway bouquet notes. The shogunate's official astronomer trips over a submerged turtle, his star charts fanning out like bloated lotus petals. He salvages a page, squints, declares the murky puddle beside him Jupiter's temporary embassy. Dawn approaches, rain waning to spit. Drunk poets gift Usagi haikus about tadpole galaxies and mud dragons. Their ink runs, turning metaphors into Rorschach tests. As lanterns gutter out, last light glints off something metallic below. A samurai's lost hairpin, a brewer's stolen ladle. You reach, and the flood whispers its oldest secret. Everything looks like treasure when you're knee-deep in someone else's disaster. The flood's lingering dampness clings to your robes like jealous lover, until blazing noon heat bakes cobblestones into a griddle. You itch beneath stiffening fabric salt crusts, forming where floodwater surrendered to sun. Whispered warnings swirl about firewatch umbrellas, their mention making merchants seal rice stores with trembling hands. Edo's fire brigades repurpose old paper parasols as emergency gear. 8. Documented in the 1838 Chief Bailiff's Ledger. Crews drench dozens in canal water, hoist them aloft on bamboo poles. Torchlight ricochets off glistening canopies, creating floating beacons through smoke. You squint at the pulsing glow, like disco balls designed by paranoid badgers. A fireman barks orders while stomping sparks, his sandal soles smoking. Lift higher, reflect Hanabicha Ward, he yells. Teen recruits strain under waterlogged silk, arms shaking like overworked sumo stable boys. Light bounces across rooftops, exposing a rat king fleeing with scorched whiskers. Historians still argue whether these mirrored signals helped coordinate crews or just gave arsonists better targets. You pocket a charred bamboo sliver, its edges sharp enough to prick conspiracy theories. Nightfall brings eerie stillness, the dry air crackling with unspent flame. Ex-umbrella libraries now stockpile soaked parasols, their racks relabeled lantern depots in sloppy brushstrokes. A clerk sleeps amidst coiled ropes, snoring into a fireman's bell. His dream mumbles reveal the real emergency. 10 pump discount on Wednesdays. Moonlit rooftops reveal patrolling silhouettes, their paper umbrellas dipped in phosphorescent fungus. Greenish halos mark safe routes through the tinderbox city. You trail one glow steps muffled by ash silt. The patrolman pivots suddenly, umbrella spines creaking like a haunted lampshade. Seen any stray cinders? He growls, voice gravelly from smoke inhalation. You shake your head. He nods toward suspicious roof tiles, their cracks oozing resin like caramelized panic. Edicts ban fireworks during droughts. Yet sulfurous gusts suggest someone's grilling rebellion skewers. A street vendor accidentally roasts sweet potatoes over forbidden flames, their skins charring into edible sensors. You nibble betrayal carbohydrates while watching firemen's umbrellas tilt into wind patterns, their angles calculated to smother sparks midair. Quirky records mention monks synchronizing fire bell rhythms with heartbeat prayers for rain, their metronome precision wasted on dehydrated pigeons. You spot one such cleric now, mantra mumbling, while polishing a bell's dented flank. His circular motions leave coppery streaks, resembling a snail's shimmering aftermath. Fireproof almasiga wood sandals clack against stones, soundtrack for evacuation drills. A noblewoman's ox cart blocks a narrow alley, her driver arguing with water bucketers about right of way. My silk outranks your splashes, she screeches. The lead fireman retorts, ash makes everyone's kimono gray, lady. Dawn unveils the damage charred umbrella ribs poking from ash piles like skeletal fingers. Apprentices salvage bamboo spines, naming each phoenix bone for reconstruction rituals. You overhear a vendor selling lucky cinders encased in resin. This week's hottest disaster chic accessory. Survivors gather at Shimizu Well, its murky depths reflecting their soot-streaked faces. A child drops a burnt paper scrap into the water, watches it dissolve into ink tears. The well-warden sighs, "That's not how wishes work, kid." Historians still argue whether incinerated umbrellas became emergency kites for dispersing embers, or just gave crows fancy nesting material. You fold a salvaged waxed paper scrap into a crude glider. Let it catch the thermals of rebuilding. Midday brings stricter patrols. Guards confiscate wooden hairpins as potential kindling. A geisha protests, her elaborate updo collapsing into rebellion tendrils. She stomps off, her clogs sparking against stones in protest rhythm as sunset bleeds across the scorched cityscape. Firewatch, umbrellas reopen as proper libraries. Patrons whisper louder than usual, as if smoke still muffles their words. You borrow a mended parasol, its patched canopy smelling of vinegar and vigilance. The librarian stamps your bamboo token with a phoenix emblem, its wings spread across yesterday's burn marks. Rain begins anew, hissing against still warm tiles. Umbrellas bloom in the drizzle, petals shielding both flames and water's vengeance. You walk home beneath dual-purpose armor waxed paper taut overhead. Somewhere, a fireman-turned-librarian hums an evacuation tune, while counting storm clouds like unlit fuses. Rain drums its impatience against your borrowed phoenix-stamped parasol, each droplet testing the waxed paper mend above your left ear. You slosh toward the traveler's quarter, canals swollen into brown soup, slurping at walkway edges. Monsoon winds bully your umbrella into a backward blossom, revealing the Amida Temple's gatehouse ahead. Its eaves drip scarlet acceptance seals, and the real test begins. First checkpoint, the Benton Bridge umbrella stall. A clerk squints at your bamboo tag, its return date etched by fire-hardened needle. His oiled hat brim quivers like a displeased mushroom. 5 days, he grunts, tapping the number carved beneath a plum blossom emblem. The counting begins, drowned out by 10,000 raindrops, performing kamikaze dives onto cobblestones. Mainstream archives confirm Edo's borrowing system mimicked booklending, down to fines for damaged spines. You watch a sandal-less merchant haggle over humidity-warped bamboo ribs, his voice rising above the downpour. This curvature's clearly artistic license, he insists. The clerk retorts by slamming a ledger, its pages swollen into a papier-mâché brick. Historians still argue whether the 3-strike exclusion rule applied to daimyo processions, or if aristocrats got free soggies. Your proofs in the puddle. 2 corroded rental tokens, stamped with crane crests. Nobilities get out of jail-free cards, rusting anonymously. Latecomer humiliation starts subtle. A tea-house host forgets your reserved floor cushion, leaving you cross-legged on a drafty, warped floorboard. 3 failed returns. The real chill arrives at the Tachibana plum wine tasting. An attendant accidentally serves your cup to a giggling courtesan's lapdog. Its smug lapping echoes louder than any insult. Quirky tax records reveal umbrella fines funded the shogun's firework displays, gunpowder joy subsidized by forgetful gaijin. You spot a Dutch trader now red-faced and bowing excessively near the docks. His umbrella tilts at a panic-stricken angle, as if apologizing for existing. Survival tactic, overcompensation. You return your parasol 2 days early, strolling past the dockside stall like a monsoon messiah. The clerk's eyebrow twitches upward barely. His stamp descends, leaving a plum blossom imprint slightly less judgmental than yesterday's. Nightfall brings covert tests. A Ronin blocks your alleyway, umbrella handle conspicuously empty. Heard you're good with due dates. He draws rain cascading off his unhooded brow. You wordlessly extend your own canopy. He studies the stitching, then vanishes into the deluge with a grunt. Passing grade. Maybe. Dawn's gray light exposes soggy evidence. A 3-pronged bamboo spike nailed to your indoor. Local code for 1 strike. But why? You mentally replay yesterday's steps. Ah, that gift of pickled plums for the tea house hostess. Her husband runs the Umbrella Audit Guild. Whoops. Emergency redemption starts at the Kashihama chimney. A brick smokestack converted into a rain gauge. Workers lower wooden dippers on fraying ropes, measure flood levels in ritualistic increments. You volunteer to record data, fingers cramping around a waterlogged brush. Each droplet smearing your ledger becomes a tiny penitence. By week's end, your sleeves smell of mildew and desperation. The final trial comes via a soggy scroll, its summons marked with the dreaded triple umbrella seal. You kneel in the licensing bureau's antechamber, water pooling around your knees like a liquid jury. The clerk arrives, sporting a suspiciously familiar plum wine stain on his hem. Seems you've misunderstood our hospitality, he murmurs, flipping through your dossier. Rain hammers the roof in crescendo. He snaps the ledger shut, but since you fed Yasaburo's dog, a stamp hits paper. The sound echoes like a castle gate creasing open. Don't make me regret monsoon mercy. You emerge blinking into the downpour, a fresh rental tag burning in your palm. Across the street, the Dutch trader gets pelted by rotted plums. His umbrella shudders under the fruity assault, while a vendor yells, 3 late returns, 3 rotten throws. Edo's math is flawless. Dusk finds you dry-ish beneath a newly borrowed parasol, its handle still sticky with pine resin fingerprints. At the crossroads, a child offers a makeshift rain gauge cobbled from your old bamboo tag. For good luck, she beams. You decline gently, but slip her a coin wrapped in waterproof mulberry paper. Monsoon justice demands balance, 1 soggy lesson at a time. The mulberry coin disappears into the child's sleeve, her grin outshining the dishwater gray sky. You turn toward the river's musk and catch a sharper tang beneath the wet air, indigo's earthy bite clawing through the humidity. It leads you past salt-crusted fishing nets, to a compound humming like a beehive, dunked in ink. 18. Vats burble under sagging roofs, each fed by cascading rainwater diverted through pine needle filters. A dyer kneels shirtless, arms stained cerulean to the elbow, as he plunges hemp into the froth. Sakura root thickener, he mutters without looking up, stops the blue from bleeding, unlike my ex-wife's poetry. Mainstream records confirm Edo's indigo trade rivaled silver in value. Your nostrils agree. Breathing here feels like swallowing a lagoon. You peek into a vat, its surface crusted with a rainbow sheen. Don't lick it, the dyer warns. Last guy hallucinated swimming in the emperor's moat for 3 days. Historians still argue whether pine needles improved color fastness or just hid merchant sweat from quality inspectors. You spot the proof dangling overhead, umbrellas dipped in every dye batch flutter like inverted jellyfish. Their canopies labeled with charcoal streaks, a covert spectrum for wealthy clients matching robes to monsoons, the real magic in the gutter math. Workers divert rooftop runoff down notched bamboo, each segment filtering debris through pine, sand, and what looks suspiciously like beard trimmings. Grandpa's secret ingredient, a teen apprentice confides. He swears toenail clippings improve absorption. We just humor him. Sudden downpour. The crew springs into action, redirecting gutters with polished urgency. You're handed a patched umbrella and ordered to guard the youngest vat. Fishbone pH balance. Someone barks. Too much rain and we get pond scum green. You stand sentinel dripping while the vat burps bubbles shaped like disapproving koi. Post-storm inspection reveals your umbrella's new identity, accidentally baptized in indigo drippings. The dyer squints at the splotches. Not a total loss. He trims the stained section, hands you a handkerchief-sized swatch for your next apology letter. Bluest ink forgives fastest. Quirky court documents later revealed nobles secretly ranked mistresses by umbrella blues. Ultramarine lovers got pearl hairpins, while cerulean flings received radish seeds. You watch the apprentice fold a scrap into a crane, its wings shining with leftover dye. He tosses it into the sky, where rain dissolves the bird into a temporary bruise on the clouds. Nightfall transforms the vats into obsidian mirrors. Fireflies kamikaze into the ink, their corpses floating like failed constellations. The dyer reappears with a lacquer box. Inside, umbrella ribs wrapped in seaweed-thin paper, mermaid hair brushes, he claims. The tips are eel whiskers, or cat, depends who's asking. Dawn exposes the night's alchemy cloth, hung to dry, resembles frozen storm surges. A customer arrives, her servants clustering like anxious ducklings. She compares fabric to an umbrella swatch, nods at hexagonal patterns in the weave. Like armor, she muses. The dyer bows. Rain-proofed samurai wore similar undergarments, very chafing. As you leave, the apprentice offers a souvenir, a cracked ceramic funnel. Strain tea through it, he whispers. tastes like rain or grandma's foot bath. You pocket it, wondering how many indigo-tinted secrets one city can hold between its tiles. The vats gargle goodbye behind you, their fermentation burps carrying farther than temple bells. The ceramic funnel weighs heavy as you navigate alleys slick with indigo runoff, each puddle a Rorschach test of missed opportunities. A bamboo awning creaks ahead, its ribs swollen from last night's downpour. You duck beneath and freeze. Carved channels hide within the umbrella's spine, a honeycomb of grooves sheltering scrolls no wider than matchsticks. Your thumb brushes one, its wax seal imprinted with carp scales. Historians agree Edo's messaging networks rivaled carrier pigeons, but never mentioned rain gear doubling as postal routes. A librarian materializes, her face obscured by oiled paper strips dangling from the canopy. She plucks the scroll with tongs. Infatuations and IOUs, she sighs. Yesterday, we found a recipe for fermented radish revenge. Her nail flicks a hidden groove, revealing 4 more missives swollen with humidity. Wedding bribes, bankruptcy warnings, a layman's guide to kite-based surveillance. The real game's in the handles. You notice notches along the grip, 9 shallow cuts, counting down to some debt collector's deadline. We're not detectives, the librarian mutters, flinging a love letter into a drainage ditch. Last month, a haiku implicated a magistrate's 3rd concubine. Whole district had to pretend they couldn't smell his panic sweat. Rain quickens. She tilts the umbrella, triggering a compartment beneath the canopy's apex. A rice paper map unfurls, streets labeled with forked symbols. Treasure hunt, more like an affair itinerary. She re-rolls it with practiced disdain. Pro tip: never trust coordinates scribbled in eel blood. That ink screams ambush. Quirky tax records show merchants deducted umbrella conduit fees, likely hush money for librarians scrubbing scandal trails. You squint at cipher on a hemp cord tag. Looks like fish market prices. The librarian snorts, or someone's terrible poetry. Your eyes shimmer like mackerel guts at dawn. She shakes her head. Delete that line before the carp gods strike us. Historians still argue whether message canals enabled organized crime or just overeager matchmaking. A gust flips the umbrella, exposing a bamboo rib etched with hatch marks. The librarian traces them. 43 days since the boatman's accident. His widow updates it weekly. She pauses. Or it's a noodle cart's sales log. Symbols get creative. Dusk brings silhouettes tapping umbrellas against bridge railings, clicks echoing like geisha songbirds. You spot a lone shark's apprentice swapping threat notes into rental handles, his hands sheathed in bat wing leather. They never check till the walk home, he chuckles. Rain mutes his retreat, squelches syncing with your heartbeat. The librarian reappears, draping your shoulders with a moth-eaten cloak. For disguise, she deadpans, you're terrible at subtlety. Through torn stitching, you glimpse a schematic pinned inside a canal lock system connected to umbrella shafts. Accidental discovery, she claims too quickly. Pay it no mind. Midnight finds you decoding a scroll's cherry blossom watermark. The message: instructions for smuggling salted plums disguised as umbrella finials. Beside you, the librarian mutters over a debt confession, 20 koku of rice, or they'll expose his unusual koi pond habits. She dangles the note over a candle. Let the fish decide. By dawn, you folded 17 response cranes, each wingspan smudged with half-truths. The librarian stuffs them into handles, already rustling with secrets. They'll reach Nihinbashi by noon, she yawns, if the eels don't intercept them. She nods to your indigo-stained hands. Watch the canals tomorrow. Blues means safe passage. Brown means you're the scandal. Sunrise turns puddles into L, IQU, ID, Chinese letter, each reflection, warping the alleys, whispering bones. You exit beneath a borrowed umbrella, its hollow ribs buzzing with unread confessions. Somewhere downstream, a sake brewer will crack open his rental and find your soggy crane, its inky plea already bleeding into a Rorschach blot. Even the rain can't interpret. The last crane folded from a debt collector's threat flutters from your grip as temple bells toll. Dawn's first light glints off stacked cedar boxes lining the street, their lids propped open like hungry mouths. You kneel beside a rice straw bundle, its crisscrossed ties already damp with anticipation. A guild elder materializes, his thumb testing each straw's brittleness. Only North Slope reads, he grumbles. South side stalks crumble by frost moon. Historians confirm Edo's storage rituals required specific grasses harvested under lunar cycles, but nobody mentions the blisters. He demonstrates the twine twist, a figure eight not said to mimic dragonfly wings. Tighter, he barks, or mice'll feast on your shame. Your fingertips brush a hydrangea petal tucked inside the straw brittle as moth wings. Guides claim it symbolized renewal, though drunk roofers at Asakusa taverns whisper it's just bug repellent. The elder slaps your wrist. Respect the gesture, even if it's nonsense. He unveils his masterpiece, a parasol cocooned so tightly it resembles a chrysalis. Nearby, apprentices wrestle warped oil paper. One groans as his umbrella springs free, bingo sticks clattering across cobblestones. Third failure this hour, mutters a pickling vendor lounging on sake barrels. She tosses him a pickled plum. Swallow the pit, Granny swore it strengthens resolve. The elder rolls his eyes. Superstition. Real men use elbow grease. You spot faded ink beneath a lid tally marks counting stored parasols. 26 silks, 43 papers. A nun murmurs, her brush dancing. Her ledger reveals mainstream trivia. Edo storage vaults, often doubled as emergency kindling depots during fires. She pauses, squinting at your half-wrapped bundle. Looser on the left side, you're suffocating its Chinese letter. Rain threatens as you adjust the shroud, straw poking through thin cotton gloves. The elder inspects your work, sniffing dismissively. adequate. He slaps a seal against the bundle, wax stamped with cranes mid-flight. Now the prayer. You mimic his bow, forehead nearly brushing the cobbles. Historians still argue whether ceremonies occurred yearly or seasonally. Ash-filled jars at excavation sites suggest both. A crash interrupts two apprentices tangled in undone bindings. Like wrestling octopi, cackles the pickling vendor. The elder's neck veins bulge. Enough jests. These are ancestral traditions. She lobs another plum. Traditions, the reason my knees crack in rain. You stifle a laugh into your sleeve, the motion, dislodging a hidden petal. Dusk brings processions of shrouded parasols, ghostly silhouettes bobbing toward storehouses. You shoulder your bundle, its weight uneven. Left side sags, the nun notes, repositioning it with a bamboo pole. Imagine balancing koinobori flags. She points to iron hooks hanging from rafters, each awaiting a cocooned canopy. Inside the vault, shadows dance across ceiling-high stacks. Your breath catches. The air smells of dried seaweed and forgotten apologies. The elder thumps a crate. This one holds the shogun's parade parasols. Dust them come peach blossom season. You glance at splintered wood. Mice have gnawed X marks through the slats. As you hoist your bundle skyward, a muffled crack echoes. The vendor gasps her finger, tracing a split handle, poking through straw. Bad luck. Quick, feed it to the koi. The elder blocks her path. Nonsense. Splinters mean vigorous use. He hesitates. But maybe toss a coin in the canal, just discreetly. Moonrise silver plates the courtyard as apprentices collapse onto miso-stained futons. The nun offers a sip from her gourd bitter herb water, cleansing your palate of straw dust. Next year, she murmurs, we'll use your gloves as teaching tools. You flex blistered palms, each crease tattooed with fibers. Somewhere in the vault's belly, a hydrangea petal detaches, floating downward like a silent promise. Or perhaps a very slow threat. You never got clarification. The vendor's snores sync with creaking rafters, while the elder mutters over a snapped pole. Repairable, he insists to nobody. If we shave off the splinters and lie about provenance. Your eyelids droop as the nun extinguishes the last lantern. Somewhere above, a moth flutters against wrapped parasols, its wings dusting centuries of rain stories sealed in rice straw. Tomorrow, the vault's iron doors will groan shut, swallowing secrets, until the first plum rains kiss their bindings anew. But tonight, blistered hands and half-heard prayers linger in the dark, braiding themselves into the loom of next season's unfinished canopies. The nun's departing footsteps fade, leaving you alone with vault shadows and the musk of neglected silk. Your palm skims a crate's edge until knots beneath your fingertips snag attention. Raised bumps dance across hemp cords, a cryptic braille whispering through calloused skin. A rice paper lantern flares. You jerk back, finding a blind librarian already dissecting your curiosity. 32 knots today, she murmurs, fingers spidering across the line. Each bulge corresponds to an overdue umbrella. Though scholars note Edo's blind archivists pioneered tactile logging decades before European braille systems spread east. She plucks a knot, snaps it with a click. Rain eel merchants, always forgetful when eel prices spike. Her toe nudges a rainwater channel cut into the floor. Droplets ricochet off bronze bowls, an auditory grid mapping the vault's layout. Hear how the D-flat puddle slows. That's the cursed corner. Umbrellas vanish there. Historians still argue whether these acoustic tricks aided navigation or scolded borrowers through superstition. You crouch, dipping fingers into resonant water. Stop that. She flicks your wrist dry with a knotted cord, disturbs the rhythm. Her hands resume their ballet reading chords, while rain ticks metronome precision against oiled parchment overhead. A sudden syncopation makes her freeze. There, fourth shelf, unreturned favor. You follow her pointing cane, spotting a handle peeking from shadows. She grins sly as a shrine fox. Can't hide from rain song. The vault's groove-worn planks carry vibrations from every dripping eave, a surveillance system tuned by centuries of monsoon seasons. You test a foot stomp, earning her derisive snort. Crude, real tracking happens here. Her palm slaps the chord grid. One knot pulses faintly. Late by 17 days, smells of burnt gobo root. A moth dive bombs her lantern, wings scattering prismatic flecks across ledgers. She swats absently. Insects love overdue fees, or maybe wax seals. Her joke dissolves into a tactical pause. Adjust aisle 3's water bowl. Half-inch leftward it's flat. You comply, marveling, as a once muffled drip gains metallic clarity. Under her guidance, you map constellations of knots, each pattern encoding borrower histories only touch could decrypt. 3 twists for fishmongers, double loops for tea masters. The system's genius hides in mundanity. Nobody suspects the washing line aesthetics, masking a dewy, decimalesque catalog. Your thumb encounters a grease-smeared knot. Rickshaw grease, she confirms. Oil degrades the codes. Wipe it. Tension coils as she deciphers an erratic cluster. This one's conflicted, paid fines, but splashed a none. Her nostrils flare as if scenting shame. Rain crescendos its white noise, sharpening her focus. Ah, the handle's cracked. Reduce the penalty. She reknots with surgeon precision, mercy in the math. Dawn leaks through cracks, illuminating her shelf-rearranging frenzy. Slide the peachwood box north, its warping drowns out third-row drips. You obey, muscles screaming. She nods at the new acoustics. Better, now we hear the lies. As fresh rain drums the roof, her fingers fly across resurrected ledgers. Preparing for the flood months, every umbrella's fate whispered here first. She taps a knotted prophecy. This one will snap in a windstorm, but save a marriage first. You raise an eyebrow. Grannies say umbrellas meddle, she shrugs. I just track the damage. Outside, apprentices splash through puddles, their laughter warped by vault acoustics into ghostly chuckles. The librarian tilts her head, monitoring their approach through vibrational ripples. Hide the micken peels. Breakfast isn't for sharers. You pocket a fallen knot, its ridges imprinting your palm with unasked questions. She senses the theft instantly. Return that by moonrise, or it'll itch during rainfall. Her smirk carves wrinkles into dawn's first light. The codes remember. As you retreat, her voice pursues, a blade sheathed in silk. Tell the pickle vendor, her sister's umbrella misses the tannery stink. Messages nest within messages, every knot a Russian doll of gossip and consequence. In the courtyard, rain kisses the stolen knot, its fibers swelling with unspilled secrets. Somewhere above, the librarian cackles at a successfully intercepted vibration, her chords thrumming with the unsung symphony of Edo's dripping soul. Rain drums the stolen knot in your pocket, its ridges buzzing like a trapped cicada. You duck beneath a sagging eave, and the downpour reshapes itself. What was clatter becomes murmur, as if each droplet rolls through wool before hitting stone. Edo's builders carved gutters with flared lips, turning monsoon racket into low, shushing hymns. A passing nun presses a finger to her lips. Without looking up, the universal sign for library voices apply outdoors too. Your geta sandals slip on moss-cushioned stairs. Each step squeaks like a mouse choir, the wood warped by centuries of humidity. Historians credit Tokugawa-era carpenters with inventing these sound-dampening slopes, though 15th century temple builders might disagree. You pause at a mossy gutter shaped like a dragon's gullet. Rainwater spirals through its bronze throat, emerging as a drowsy hum. Our ancestors' white noise machines, murmurs a passing plasterer. He knocks a wall, releasing a muffled gong tone. Hollow chambers in the beams, traps echoes like fireflies in a jar. A tea server giggles nearby, her laugh stifled mid-cackle as she notices the eaves. She mouths forbidden when you raise an eyebrow pointing to carved grooves along the roof's edge. These serrated channels slice raindrops into smaller fractions, reducing splash noise by, well, measurements were less precise back then. You press your ear to a wooden column, hearing centuries of storms preserved in sap-sealed knots. They say carpenters embedded lullabies in the crossbeams, whispers a bookseller sheltering nearby. He demonstrates, tapping a sequence on a rainwater barrel. Ripples morph into a folk tune's opening notes, only works when it's drizzling northeast. Skeptics counter that humidity affects wood's resonance. But try telling that to the toddler napping through a thunderstorm 3 feet away. The real magic happens during conversations. 2 samurai debate sword polishers ahead, their voices softening with each step under the eaves. By the time they reach the covered bridge, they're miming arguments through exaggerated shrugs. You strain to hear a single word, catching only vowel size melting into the rain's static. A half-drowned butterfly lands on your sleeve wings, vibrating in time with distant gutter songs. At the canal side, a guard tower's reflection shivers in flooded cobblestones. Its actual structure stands silent, while the watery twin amplifies every splash into a war drum cadence. Inverted acoustics, a sopping wet architect explains, wringing rainwater from his ink-stained ledger. We designed libraries to cancel noise, forgot about the damn puddle orchestras. He kicks the water, disrupting a battalion of phantom foot soldiers. Your stolen knot throbs as you pass a Shinto shrine's offering box. Its slatted roof angles rainwater into a precise Morse code onto copper coins below. A priest glares, not at you, but at the droplets, misaligning his carefully arranged offerings. The rain's kami is teasing us today, he grumbles, repositioning a soaked mochi cake. Historians still argue whether Edo's rain-muffling tech was acoustic genius or happy accident. Dusk seeps through paper lanterns, their glow diffusing like butter in steam. You lean against a conversation bench, its backrest curved to funnel whispers directly into your left ear. A fishmonger 3 yards away mutters about mussel prices, his words arriving crisp as a temple bell. Across the lane, a lover's confession gets scrambled into a haiku about fern growth. Hit or miss, laughs a nurse pumping water from her shoe. Great for gossip, terrible for proposals. The knot burns your thigh, its itch crescendoing as you approach a bathhouse's fogged windows. Inside, singers testing acoustics hit a note that makes raindrops hover midair. Patrons swear this happens weekly. Skeptics blame hot spring fumes. A towel-clad philosopher beckons you closer his lecture on liquid silence, drowned out by a rogue waterspout's jazz solo. By moonrise, the eaves work overtime, transforming typhoon threats into nursery rhymes. You surrender the stolen knot to a rain barrel, its fibers hissing secrets as they swell. Somewhere, the blind librarian smiles at a vibration only she can hear. The city sighs its secrets, and storms softened by wood and whimsy. Every whispered word dissolving into the mercy of dampened air. Velvet whispers against your palm as you brush a handle wrapped in moth-eaten silk, its padding still dented from grip marks, no longer there. The wood beneath bleeds through in patches. 187 years of widow's palms wearing through opulence. You're crouched in a rented attic now, the last known velvet library, where samurai widows loaned out dignity disguised as umbrellas. Rain filters through warped roof tiles, drawing stripes across ledgers written in shaky kana. Here's the mainstream part everyone forgets. After the 1703 Chushingura vendetta, 2,000 samurai widows lost stipends overnight. But the quirky twist, their covert charity used weapon storage permits to rent attic spaces tax-free. A government loophole for mourning parasols. Your knees protest as you shuffle past lacquered boxes labeled in plum blossom ink names like Lady Tsuruko's Rain Mercy. Inside, umbrellas mended with silk strips torn from funeral kimonos. Historians still argue whether these women forged solidarity or quietly rebuilt political networks between silk padding. A draft stirs the dusty air, carrying the faintest trace of hibawood incense, the official scent of Edo period grief. Lightning flickers, illuminating a burlap sack marked moon viewing mortgages. Turns out the velvet brigade accepted umbrella collateral for small loans, rice debts, forgiven if repaid during autumn's driest week. Found that tidbit scrawled behind a disintegrating shoji screen last Tuesday. 5 coppers per storm, murmurs a stain shaped like a teardrop. Or maybe that's tinnitus from the leaky gutter's metronome drip. Your pinky hooks a hidden drawer. Inside, 74 hairpins skewering IOUs. Each ivory spike records a widow's journey from blackened teeth to tobacco shop ownership. They used parasol loans to bankroll tea stalls, steeped revenge, served one achezuke bowl at a time. Rain drums harder, synchronizing with the attic's secret heartbeat. A century-old pillar clockwork made from repurposed umbrella springs. A moth-eaten manual flutters open to page 13. Proper handling of soggy debtors. Turns out late payments incurred interest paid in labor. Like stitching waterproof compartments into lenders' funeral shrouds. The most used page. A stain-spotted diagram for hiding loan tickets inside hollow umbrella handles. Modern finds confirm this. Antiques Roadshow once appraised a cursed parasol, spewing 1684 payment, slips mid-twirl. Your thumbnail catches on velvet glue, still faintly sticky after 2 centuries. Preservationists say it's mulberry resin mixed with ash from morning candles. Fringe theorists insist one widow's tears make it eternally tacky. Doesn't explain why your sleeve keeps sticking to the ledger's charity column. Through a mouse-chewed hole in the wall, you glimpse modern konbini umbrellas blooming like plastic mushrooms. Something clinks underfloor, a ceramic sake cup catching roof leaks. Inverted, it amplifies the drip rhythm into Morse code even you can decipher. 3 short, 3 long, the attic's heartbeat spelling forgiveness between storms. Historians still argue whether these women were saints or schemers. But right now, you're too busy peeling loan tickets off your damp thighs to care. Your damp sandals slip on moss-slick wood as you reach the garden's edge, coy mouths kissing the pond's surface in perfect O's. Each ripple looks like a dropped yen swallowed by liquid amber. Edo period nobility transplanted these carp from Niigata's chilly streams, bred them to flare orange against monsoon gray waters. Historical fact, incoming by 1680, bankrupt samurai were selling prize koi as collateral for umbrella loans. The real irony, fish worth 10 silk parasols starved when rains flooded rice paddies. A droplet plinks off your nose into the pond. 7 koi dart toward it like scaled shuriken. Their obsession's your gain. Here's the taboo. No umbrella exchanges within 20 strides of spawning zones. Superstition claims inverted canopies siphon luck from fish mid-leap, stealing their ability to climb waterfall myths. Quirky evidence. A merchant's 1812 diary describes a lone clerk, cursed, with fin-shaped birthmarks. After approving a riverside rental, you crouch to inspect the railing. Carved warnings eroded into pinewood. Beneath this line, no hemp cords may pass. Fringe theorists whisper the true fear was koi nibbling bamboo ribs, mistaking umbrella skeletons for insect larvae. Practical or paranormal, either way, the penalty was harsh. 3 days mending torn nets for fish farmers, or composing apology verses to the pond's scale brocade guardians. Rain dimples the surface, koi swirl into a living mandala. Their tails flick up spores from the pond's muddy gospel. Historians still argue whether the spawn protection laws aimed to preserve fish or control umbrella monopoly revenues. Your sleeve snags on a rusty nail. Modern Tokyo hums beyond the garden wall. Beneath your knees, a buried Edo-era pipe gurgles, flushing storm runoff toward long-dead irises. A security light blinks on plastic konbini umbrellas. Across the street glow like radioactive jellyfish. You fight the urge to compare them to silk canopies, once floating here, oil paper moons, winking through willow strands. Careful, leaning too far forward risks becoming today's cautionary tale. A 1698 ledger lists 13 visitors who toppled in while arguing loan terms, forgotten names etched onto submerged stepping stones. Your fingers graze something wedged between planks, an ivory tally stick marked with fish scale glyphs. Pawnshop codes from the Tenmei era, or some umbrella librarian's lunch order. Either way, it hums with residual pettiness, like quarrels over whose turn it was to drain pond water from bamboo ferrules. Lightning syncopates with croaking frogs. 1, 2, 7 amphibious critics judging your archival snooping. A shadow pools at your feet. No cloud caused that. Glance up. A cormorant perches on the no parasols sign, neck banded like a feudal lord's messenger. Edo fishermen used such birds to catch trout. But here, it's eyeing your half-unfurled map with a predator's smirk. You pocket the ivory stick. Better not risk inspiring avian kleptocracy. Raindrops accelerate. The pond becomes a dartboard of intersecting circles. 57 koi orbit your reflection. Now, a tempest-made cult awaiting offerings. You've got nothing but lint and a peach pit. Improvise. The 1774 Rain Etiquette scroll suggests appeasing water spirits with persimmon seeds, but you mimic an Edo loan officer instead. Toss the pit while whispering, overcast percent, 15 coppers per half hour. It sinks like a bloated body. The koi scatter aristocrats offended by fruit-based jokes. Your laugh echoes off a stone pagoda. Or maybe that's Lady Otsuru spinning in her grave. She funded 3 umbrella libraries through koi sales, then drowned in 2 feet of fountain water during a loan audit. Irony sticklers note she'd refused to repair leaky gutters, funds allocated for peony bushes instead. A mud snail glides across your toes, its shell whorls mirroring the parasols inked on your map. You resist the urge to pocket it. Bad juju, according to pond lore. 17th century lenders would rub snails on overdue tags, believing the slime eroded debts. Spoiler, it just made documents harder to read. Wind riffles the water's surface. Koi tails blur into flame-colored brushstrokes. For heartbeat, you see Edo's umbrella librarians here. Hempen sandals planted where your sneakers sink. They'd measure lone seekers' shadows at noon, deeming short shadows worthy of better rates. Your iPhone pings a weather alert. 30% chance of rain tomorrow, which means 70% chance this garden sells commemorative plastic ponchos by morning. The cormorant dive bombs, snatching an unlucky fish in a splash of spite. Water showers your already drenched notebook, pages warping into topographic maps of disappointment. Ink bleeds across a sketch of the pond, transforming koi into Rorschach smudges. Maybe it's better this way. Historians still argue whether failed spawns doomed the libraries, or just gave bureaucrats wet shoes and petty excuses. Leaves cling to your collar like jealous spirits. You pick one off, its veins mimic the cracks in a repaired parasol. Somewhere beyond the wall, a bus hisses to a stop at tourists, spilling out with selfie sticks and Pokemon umbrellas. The pond's guardian cormorant croaks once, a sound somewhere between a laugh and a warning. Lightning flickers again, contracting the world into a single water-stained moment before the heavens open their last valve. The downpour turns urine warm as you duck beneath a shop awning. Your nose already knows what approaches before eyes adjust. 6-night soil porters materialize through curtain rain, their wide-brimmed umbrella hats weeping rust-colored stains. Edo period hygiene laws required waste collection before dawn. But monsoon floods pushed their schedule into daylight hours. Each wooden bucket sways with the weight of 10,000 half-digested secrets, noblemen's feasts, and peasants' radish stews swirling together in egalitarian muck. You press your sleeve to nostrils, no help. The lead porter's sandals squelch rhythmically, left-right, left-right. A grim march parodying festival dances. His hat tilts, rainwater cascades off the edge in a deliberate arc, missing his burden by thumb widths. Mastery earned through spilled tragedies. An 1806 ordinance fined collectors 10 coppers per accidental aroma splash. A teen porter falters, his load sloshes perilously. The foreman barks a guttural haiku. Plum blossoms wilt fast, hold your shame tighter than rice. Historians still argue whether these work chants preserved dignity, or let overseers mock struggling crews. You spot the rookie's umbrella hat, garish peonies painted over patched holes. Fringe archivists swear certain florals signaled underground messages, like which alleys had lenient latrine inspectors. Breathe through your mouth. The sourness coats your tongue anyway. 15th century fertilizer contracts show night soils value rivaled silver wealth that never touched the collector's calloused palms. Their Chinese letter. Hauji baskets leak ammonia trails, etching ghost maps of their route into the mud. A 1783 ledger lists 37 umbrella decorators specializing in effluvia-resistant patterns. The most popular, carps swimming upstream, metaphorically escaping their murky fate. A tourist group approaches, oblivious. The foreman snaps his fingers. 6 umbrellas pivot outward, forming a stench blockade. Visitors scatter like roaches under light. You catch a porter's smirk, his teeth stained beetle nut red. They think we're invisible until inconvenience blooms, his eyes say. Your sandal slips, heel skidding through something gelatinous. The rookie snorts, then muffles laughter into his shoulder. Etiquette demands you ignore both the muck and the mockery. Edo's 5 bows rule applied here, 3 nods for porters, 2 extra for whichever deity invented nose plugs. Rain dilutes the air briefly. The caravan trudges past, trailing whispers of fermented despair. A child's broken kite tumbles into their wake, paper swallows disintegrating on contact. You spot the rookie's hidden flourish, his hat's interior lined with cherry blossoms. Fragile beauty pressed against rancor. A MODERN Chinese letter truck rumbles by, its plastic tanks sterile as laboratory jars. Those drivers wear respirators and latex gloves. No poetry in their hydraulic lifts, yet you miss the honesty of those clattering buckets, their contents unabashedly human. Lightning flickers for a heartbeat. The porter's shadows stretch edalong across Kaminka rooftops, grotesque and noble as any samurai's silhouette. Your pocket vibrates. A paranoid check confirms the ivory tally stick hasn't dissolved. Its fish scale glyphs pulse faintly. Or maybe that's your thumb's smeared filth playing tricks. The last porter pauses, adjusts his grip, and whispers without turning. Shinagawa's 3rd pier at low tide, if you want answers. Then he's gone, swallowed by rain, and the city's steam. You stare at the spot where his umbrella dripped, each droplet sprouting miniature mushrooms in the nutrient-rich mire. Somewhere downstream, koi gulp the diluted aftermath, their gills filtering centuries of embarrassment into harmless amber. The iPhone in your bag buzzes. 97, unusual activity. Alerts from the humidity sensor. You debate tossing it into the next passing basket. Plastic crinkles like angry ghosts as you peel off the disposable poncho. It's neon pink, clashing with Edo-era shop fronts. The 7-Eleven clerk insisted it was traditional Japanese design. Those cartoon Daruma, eyes staring from your shoulder feel like betrayal. You kick the wadded vinyl into a gutter. Watch it bob past a 1686 sewer, great, still bearing the Tokugawa crest. Modern rain gear owes its existence to 1872 Meiji laws, samurai forced to swap swords for umbrellas in name of Western progress. progress stinks of petrochemicals. Your fingers brush a convenience store awning. Its aluminum ribs vibrate with each droplet. Harsh metallic pings, replacing bamboo's hollow song. Across the street, a salaryman wrestles a folding umbrella inside out. Wind whips the nylon canopy into a flaccid jellyfish. You remember the blind librarians, their fingers tracing bamboo, spines smoother than lacquerware. Autolabs 2026. Study proved Edo-era parasols produced beta wave patterns in listeners, same as ASMR whisper tracks. Corporate Japan took notes. Last year's Sleep Expo featured digital tsuyu rain apps. None included the accidental harmonies of repairmen humming as they glued torn paper. A vending machine glows, its plastic front plastered with anime girls holding. Huh. Are those genetically modified umbrella silkworms? The tagline reads, new, peach mint parasol scent. You jab the button, a can clatters down. The drink tastes like regret and high fructose matcha. Bubble tea pearls bob at the bottom, dead eyes accusing you of complicity. Kaido University keeps 3 original Edo libraries in a humidity-controlled vault, and 98 more rotting in rural storage units. Last November, a TikToker live-streamed her exploration of an abandoned stash. The comments roasted her for mishandling old paper canopies until the video cut to silent screams. Amateur archivists still debate whether her flashlight revealed asbestos or something thumping inside a moth-eaten parasol. Your sneakers squeak on imitation cobblestones, theme park versions of the elevated paths that once channeled rain into iris gardens. Neon reflections warp in puddles. A McDonald's sign becomes a wavering Torii gate. You spot a drone buzzing overhead, delivering sushi to some salaryman's love hotel. Its rotors click like abacus beads, mechanical approximation of a water clock's drip. Revival workshops dot the Denshichodo district. Tourists pay $30 to glue paper onto laser-cut bamboo. The instructor confiscates your phone. No photos of trade secrets. As if 3D scanners couldn't reverse engineer his stamped tin patterns. Your fingers fumble the hemp cord, knots unraveling like corporate promises. The master size slides you a pre-assembled kit. Its perfect symmetry mocks you. Historians still argue whether cultural erosion began with plastic or the first merchant who sold antique umbrellas with barcodes etched in invisible ink. You lean against a konbini freezer. Its hum syncs with your watch's vibration. Across centuries, moisture rules all whether feeding rice patties or short-circuiting iPhones. A shopgirl offers samurai-grade umbrella insurance through her tablet. The terms scroll endlessly, acts of God excluded, especially typhoons, from 1603 to 1868. You decline. She shrugs, taps her screen. A hologram materializes, glitching kimono patterns overlay her Uniqlo vest. The projection stutters for a heartbeat. You see 13 generations of umbrella mistresses bowing in her pupils. Rain slackens, sun spears through smog. Tick-tocks load faster now, but you miss the way paper canopies breathed. Last week, an influencer's viral challenge had teens racing with oil paper parasols through car washes. Comments exploded over water damage entitlement. Nobody noticed the final frame, an Edo storage box, disintegrating in some city worker's incinerator. You board the Yamanote line. A salaryman's nanocoat repels droplets into jealous beads. His briefcase drips, forming watt-terabyte symbols on the floor. The train lurches, your shoulder bumps his. He stiffens, eyes fixed on stock prices, flickering across contact lenses. Mutual apologies go unspoken. Just 2 more ghosts in the rainfall. At Shinjuku Station, 100 umbrellas dance in the theft rack. Polyester canopies mingle, a grotesque orgy of convenience. You touch one handle, its algorithmic grip adjusts to your palm sweat. The embedded speaker offers rain sounds, curated from Mount Fuji storms. Faint static hisses, or is that steam rising from forgotten library vents? Your hotel room's ambience menu includes Edo downpour, 3D spatial audio. You select it. Plastic speakers approximate what bamboo once conducted for free. The ceiling projector paints sakura petals across peeling wallpaper. They fall wrong, digital blossoms lack the desperation of real ones, clinging before the deluge. Tomorrow brings a conference on traditional moisture management. Keynote speakers include an AI poet trained on Basho's verses. You unzip your suitcase, fingers brushing the ivory tally stick from yesterday's encounter. Its glyphs pulse warmer tonight, or maybe the radiator's broken again. As sleep comes, you swear the humidity forms hands, smoothing your brows like librarians dusting parchment. Somewhere beyond the HVAC's wheeze, a bamboo rib creaks in answer. The rain gentles now, each drop a softened tapping on concrete. Neon lights blur into watercolor smears, your breath sinks with the distant hum of traffic. That stiff hotel pillow cradles your head, heavier somehow, as if generations of umbrella makers press their palms beneath it. Outside, the city's glow mimics oil paper lanterns. You count drips from the faulty gutter, irregular heartbeats threading through pixelated Daruma ads. Your fingers unclench, no hemp cords or laser-cut bamboo here, just threadbare sheets clinging to skin. Memories of the storage vault's surface, the scent of wet ink on preservation ledgers. Humidity clings, not the metallic bite of AC, but deeper, older earth after first monsoon rains. Someone's grandmother once sang to weeping parasols, her voice trapped in lacquered wood grain. Your eyelids ripple, projected sakura petals dissolve into static. The AI poet's keynote tomorrow will parse rain scrolls. Yet no algorithm deciphers the way your tally stick warms at 3:07 a.m. A librarian's ghost laughter flickers through the radiator's cough. You sink deeper. Plastic ponchos melt rice paper whispers. 13 generations press closer, calloused thumbs brushing your temples. Neon fades. Storm drains murmur Edo lullabies. The last awake part of you wonders if drones ever dream of silkworms. Beneath synthetic rain tracks, a bamboo rib flexes. Old cracks sing low and resonant as centuries of storms exhale through the walls. Your fist loosens around nothing. Sleep comes not as thief, but as a paper restorer's brush patient, inevitable, gilding the frayed edges. Breathe. The HVAC stutters, or is it a chuckle? Storage unit hinges creak in unison, a chorus of neglected canopies stretching damp spines. Humidity cradles every cell, liquid archive, keeper of all that dissolves and all that endures. Darkness pools warm the thrum of existence, slowing to rainfall's ancient tempo. No more screens, no nylon rustle, only the phantom drag of a wet hem across tatami. Your last thought slips, a dew droplet joining the gutter's flow. Somewhere, a moth-eaten parasol unfurls in still air, its final tear mended by centuries of breath. Rest now. The rain never truly stops, it simply changes hands.